and fourthly, within us as a nation, as we celebrate what God has done, what He has accomplished simply by the word that He has spoken over us at the very beginning of our nation, that under God we will continue to increase in beauty and prosperity and play our part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. We continue to do that, but I do believe as we have passed our first anniversary on this program, we continue to say and continue to declare, do not fear, do not fear. I want to remind you this morning that the Lord says He is with you. Stay focused. Don't go to the left, don't go to the right. Stay focused on what it is He has spoken over your life, over your situation. Hold on to it, cling to it, and it will come to pass because He indeed is not a man that He should lie. So stay focused, be strong, and indeed, my friend, you will overcome. I remember as we think about emancipation and independence, Sam Sharp and Paul Bogle, who were men of faith, decided that they needed to do something about that, and they stayed focused even to the end. One says, well, it's come to this, but I'm giving this up because I'm sowing into the future of my nation. Some of the times, some of us will be seeds into the great harvest that yet is to come. So we continue to persist and continue to stand in faith.
This morning, Pastor Percival, I want us to share with our listeners on a very topical issue, and it is the role of resistance in effecting change. I use the word resistance. Some might say rebellion. Some might even go as far as to say it is seditious. That word was recently used, or a derivative of it was recently used by our Prime Minister when he referred to the efforts of Mr. Curry in Akompong to advocate for his people. He talked about secession from the state, that Jamaica is a unitary state, and he referred to the word spoken by Mr. Curry as, I guess, capable of inciting treason or seditious talk is what you would, when you're using language that would encourage persons to break away from state rule. Because we have recently commemorated Emancipation Day, which marks the abolition of slavery in 1834, that took place in 1834. Those changes, and then later on in 1838, there was the abolition of apprenticeship. Apprenticeship was really no different from slavery. The only difference was that it took place within the context of a statutory change in the modus operandi, meaning slavery had been formally abolished by legal enactment, but there was a regime in place that required the formerly enslaved people to work for the same plantation owners without pay under the guise of transitioning, transitioning us from slaves to employed people. So I'm not sure what benefit we got since we were doing the same work for the same people on the same terms, no pay. But that was the manner of transition that was in place. Resistance was a very important part of what led. There were massive slave revolts all across the English-speaking Caribbean, Barbados, Jamaica, most notably.
Jamaica, I think, was the trigger.
Yeah,
and everybody just says.
Yeah, so resistance then was an important part of effecting the change. And now that we are still in a position of needing to emancipate the mind, I want us to discuss the role of resistance. When we come back after the break, it's 6:31. Please stay with us. This is the Morning Connection.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
People, are you listening?
If you choose to remain at home after an evacuation order has been issued, you do so at your own risk.
Get down, get down! Heed the warning!
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, at 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? You waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose a problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
I try calling you, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
Best 100 FM is the authentic voice of Jamaica, promoting your prosperity with better vibes and better music. Let us promote your goods and services for you. Advertise with us. For more information, call our office at 876-276-8935. That's 276-8935.
Say, let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Donna, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith that God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back to the Morning Connection. I was just saying to Pastor Percival, you know that the right to vote in Jamaica as adults, adult suffrage, is not even 100 years old as yet? 1944, adult suffrage in Jamaica.
And it came in progressively in terms of was able to vote, because the first set of people who could vote were people who had land.
Had land.
Yeah. So, so the plan has always been there. Keep them out of the process in terms of what you do, so they cannot stay. But anyway, what do you think? But you
Well, I'm just reflecting on it that we've not used the right to vote very well, though we've had it and we fought for it. So, because I'm focusing on the role of resistance in effecting change, I'm coming up against there's some parameters, if you will, that shape how you look at resistance. Resistance, first of all, is law breaking, because you're moving against, you're pushing against the established norm, and the established norm is traditionally also reinforced by laws and regulations that corral you into a particular direction.
In the
last week, you yourself was saying to me that in the absence of a strict moral compass in the heart, then human behavior had to be conditioned through the application of laws. I have paraphrased it, of course. But you remember we were talking about what you actually said, what would stop a man who has formed it in his intent to kill the producer? What would stop him from killing him the next morning? Wouldn't it be the threat of death penalty or a law, that there's a law against it? We're looking at what do you use to condition human behavior in the absence of a functional conscience?
Yeah, a functional conscience. But
Yeah.
let's go to the first thing.
So resistance then is pushing against what is the established and expected code of conduct.
Yeah, but you were saying, good, we've established that, but I was just thinking about resistance. If you can resist without breaking the law, and I think you can, because you can seek to resist by withdrawing to participate in a system that you believe is inherently evil in terms of the things that you do. And so you can have what people call passive resistance.
Yeah, so you're looking at passive resistance where you're not promoting the law, but you're not breaking it.
Not breaking the law. So if we decide, like somebody has been saying on the program, how do we get the government to understand that what they're doing is not good?
So passive resistance would include like boycotting things.
Withdrawal of services.
Withdrawal of service would be it's not so passive.
Like you decide not to participate. Okay. All right. So we had the float yesterday, the street parade. I glimpsed at it.
When? On the news? When did you, or how did you come to
I glimpsed at it. Somebody sent me some pictures because I was busy in my books and I never ventured out.
So was that passive resistance on your part? Not going to stand by the side of the road and wave flags?
And I think a lot of Jamaicans did that, didn't they?
Listen to me. When I saw, first the news report said the float had returned to crowds of onlookers and so on and so forth. And then they did like a flyover, like a drone shot of Halfway Tree. And you know what it reminded me of?
What?
When President Trump said he had a big crowd came out for his inauguration ceremony. Was that it? When he said his crowd was bigger than, the crowd that was there for Mr. Obama. And they did a comparison, and you saw the handful of people for his thing, and you saw the street with throngs of persons for the other guy's show, and like, really? That's a big crowd? Yeah, the news said there was a big crowd. And then when they did a flyover, let me tell you, not even Friday when people are getting ready to go back Kentucky, not that crowd is bigger. When people are in the square and the buses are running and so on, that is a regular day when Jamaicans are out and about, was more well attended.
So you're saying that the people resisted by not.
So that's what I'm asking now. If
the people resisted by not.
If there was a withdrawal of support,
people
which was a passive form of resistance.
People are saying, because people say, it really happened? Like people are saying, really? It did happen today? So the whole thing of communicating and so on, because normally it generates a lot of interest and everybody coming. Because a holiday, you dress up in your Jamaican colors and you come from all the communities, and it is a big day to go out and cheer. But there wasn't. Because remember, when we were growing up and you had Jankuno and so on, even though someone we did afraid I'd like Puss and Devil and all of those things, and the pregnant woman. And
I saw a picture of something that looks like a cotton candy man. What's that? It was on the front page. I thought, is that a new John Kuno man? Called Cotton Candy. It looked like he was in swirls of cotton.
Oh, but it's the devil.
There it is. Oh.
Maybe the horns is the devil. The devil.
We've really humanized the devil. Put him in. Well, so that's interesting because the devil is in like white.
Just him horns.
And only the horns are black.
Oh, wow. Yeah, but that's how people have sent messages unequivocally to the people that be to say, hello, what is happening here?
So let me give you some of the forms of passive resistance that came out of slavery. Breaking tools, feigning illness, staging slowdowns,
What go slow? That we call
and
a go
then
slow?
go slow, right? And then there is the active one now where you commit acts of arson and sabotage. I know I meant to check what was happening with the kerosene oil regulation thing. I know because of the arson. Right up to even when I was a child, I would hear it said that you couldn't purchase kerosene oil after certain hours. And if you were found, a black man found walking around with kerosene oil after a certain hours, yes, you go burn down the cane field.
Oh, wow.
Right. So I'm just kind of taking a little nostalgic review
Wow.
of our history to just give a reminder of where we're coming from and the things we're capable of as we seek to bring about a change in our own circumstances. I want us to look back at the role of resistance and begin to look through modern society and how it is that we can, as Pastor says, you can resist without outright breaking the law. What would that look like in today's society? Because there really is a great need for change. And we don't want to be caught in, history should not repeat itself with us. Yeah.
And in terms of, on a bigger scale, a call goes out in terms of some of the things that have happened since the lockdown over the last 2 years and rights that have been taken away from people. People says, okay, the first way that you resist is to inform yourself of what has happened. And then having informed yourself of the information that is needed, then you now begin to take decisions in terms of shifting or taking back the power that has been taken from you in light of perceived, we're doing this for public health, and when you
take stock.
You take public health, really? Okay, so it's interesting in terms of the resistance that will come. Some people resist by just total withdrawing from community life. I don't know if that's a good way of resisting. You have these, I remember Jim Jones and a lot of the things that happen. That was how we are resisting the system. And even with the Rastafari.
Well, that is a kind of separatist approach where you separate yourself from the society which offends. If you are large enough in numbers and you can
change.
create a new state, then sure. But I think a small band going into the wilderness invites, hostile treatment, and most of those have not ended well.
They have not ended well.
Yeah.
But do you think, let's bring it closer home in terms of Rastafari and how they have seen it, they have actively and continue to actively to resist the Babylon system. And in a sort of way, they've done it passively in terms of changing of lifestyle and dress and way that the food that they eat, that kind of thing. And that has, in a lot of way, permeated the general body politic.
Yeah, and has had worldwide impact to the extent that they've been recognized as an indigenous group. But you end up now having to look at the gains, maybe philosophically, in the anthropological sense. It's interesting and worthy of study because it is an aspect of human behavior that has persisted, given, it's almost 130 years since Rasta first spoke. But then you look at the gains in real world terms, if you're going to look at how have they advanced and prospered as a unit from this course that they have adopted. I don't know what the qualitative measures would be measurement, what you would use to measure how they've prospered. Because you and I may think that you might say, okay, are they well educated? Are they enjoying some of the basic human rights that give dignity to your existence? I'm assuming, I'm just, saying
fine,
that
yeah.
those are some of the things you would use to measure it. Have they stuck to their philosophy and worked it to bring about those kinds of advancements in their community? Is the community growing? I'm asking the questions without even positing a response, because I think it is just worthy of discussion. If you were a young person stepping out and saying, all right, I want to align myself with something that will yield great benefits to me, would you look and say, all right, I could be a Rasta? I suspect that if you look at a particular Rasta, you could be driven by a personality to say, this person exemplifies what I would like in my own life.
True.
And it may have more to do with how they occupy themselves, how they express themselves and earn a living, than necessarily the philosophy.
True.
I'm not altogether clear on what is Rasta philosophy.
Yeah.
Today, I'm not clear on it. Different persons call and they share and so on. But the truth is, I'm not seeking to understand it to the point of adopting it.
Okay.
I think, however, that Jamaica, the body politic, has benefited more from Rasta's presence among them than the Rasta man has benefited from being amongst the Jamaicans. Does that make sense?
You're talking in terms of economics
Yes.
of the situation,
Yes,
which is where
in
it has
terms
come
of
to.
even just notoriety, in putting us on the world stage in some critical ways, in creating mass appeal for aspects of our culture that have been monetized tremendously outside of Jamaica, in Jamaica. Even the government associating themselves with elements of Rasta culture, which they don't own, but it is seen as being Jamaican. And so, anywhere you go as a Jamaican,
Jamaican.
yeah, you benefit from it. So I think Rasta has been more of a blessing to Jamaica than Jamaica has been to the Rasta man.
Bless him. But
Yeah.
as you've been in talking, we think about resisting the system. My mind goes back to Daniel. His resistance. Remember, they were taken as captives
Yeah.
into Babylon.
Yeah.
And what they did, was a process of ensuring that the best of the countries that they conquered would become a part of the system. So it was a total, cultural indoctrination in terms of it. And they decided, we are not going to partake of the food, which was on the system. Because you say they were going to university, because it is said that they were about in their late teens, adolescent years.
Mid to late teens.
Yeah.
Daniel was about 15, 16.
17, they're about. And they spent
left.
3 years, and they says, we're not going to.
We're going to maintain our diet.
And that was their way of saying to be set apart in terms of resisting the system. But one of the things
and that's passive resistance, because it really only affected your well-being.
Right.
In terms of...
Yeah, but then it came to the big stage where now Nebuchadnezzar says, everybody needs to worship. And he says, okay, we will not bow down or worship what you've asked us to do, because it comes against something that is so deeply enshrined in my own heart, and they were willing to resist even to the point of death. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm seeing a very sharp distinction between resisting for personal, conscience-based reasons, and resisting for political, economic reasons that extend beyond just how it affects your body, your person. A group of young men who choose to eat as they are accustomed to eating. It was powerful for them in terms of building up their own authority and strength and maintaining identity, but it had no political effect. The guard or their guardian said, the guardian had it was a win-win situation, really. The guardian says, I would be punished if you look worse than the other, I'm going to say slaves, because really they were in the palace, but they were enslaved people. So the guardian says, don't matter to me. In fact, I could take your wine and bread and whatever, and sell it, give it to my own people. But if you look worse than the others, then it is going to matter to me.
Then reflect back on me.
Right. And so they came to a deal. Let's try it for a period and see if your health is maintained and you look good, no problem. So that was a form of resistance which was important to the individual. And it's a very interesting point to consider, because by strengthening the individuals, it prepares them for a more important kind of resistance later down, because they now begin to figure out how they can passively work the system to build up their strength and be ready for the day when the real resistance that can affect a nation matters. And so it is with us right now. We have to find those little areas where we can cling to something that strengthens us, but does not mean any immediate harm to your enemy. It strengthens you in terms of your identity, your own authority, your ability to negotiate, and your ability to survive in a context of hostility. This is something that all women learn how to do from as early an age as possible, because typically we're smaller in build, we have less physical power, we have to survive based on our ability to be invisible when needed, be inoffensive when it is necessary to be so, but at the same time, develop a voice and a strength that when you need it, you can draw on it. But if you are out there obviously building strength and building an army, people will shut you down before you can. So I understand very well what that means. Now, the other point that you raised with the same Hebrew boys, at the point when they were being challenged in their faith, they were not seeking to resist anything. They, like everybody else, because it was a very cosmopolitan type setting, Nebuchadnezzar had a court into which he had brought people from all over the conquered territories.
States, yeah.
Right. This challenge of faith came about because enemies of the Hebrew boys, so it wasn't the state that was putting them under oppression. Enemies of the boys had
wanted them to conform,
calculated to bring about some rule which they knew would be stressful and difficult for the boys, because they saw that they were diligent in the practice of their faith. So they got the king, as you know the story, most people know the story very well. They got the king to pass our law to say, when you hear music or whatever, you need to bow down and worship something which was offensive to their religion. I think if the origin of the plan had come from the state, their resistance to it might have run a different track. But the story, as recorded and told, is not so much about how to mount an effective resistance. It's more about the faithfulness of God when you show yourself to be diligent and faithful. Would you do that, Pastor? Challenged in a setting like that? Would you keep on doing what you're doing as a man of faith?
Yeah, because for me, because I think...
Or would you lock yourself away and not come out to be in a position where you have to break your own law, your law of faith?
That continue to function, because it just occurred to me that
yes,
the people that we know who have resisted, whether it is passive or active resistance, have had a personal faith question answered and says, out of what I believe, I'll act and resist the system that is oppressive. And
you mean they have covenant?
Yeah, they have covenant
on which they rely, and it is, yeah.
They stand in covenant with a higher power with God, which says that because of this, I am going to resist. So if you look at most of the resistant movements that have brought about change, these persons had a philosophical basis for doing what's his name, Gandhi, with what he did. Martin Luther King, and people around the world who have resisted the lady out of Myanmar. That's her name.
Myanmar.
Myanmar. Yeah, the lady.
Yes,
who became won the Nobel Prize for Peace because of what she did in our country in standing against the oppressive regime and so on. So persons like that have had what I call a personal faith belief system that has said, because this is wrong, this is inherently evil, and we'll stand against it. And we don't see, by partaking in such a system, how we're going to get along, how we're going to survive. So
you're citing one of the rules then for resistance. You must believe in something.
Yes. You
You
can't believe.
You can't mount a resistance if you don't believe in what you're doing.
Yeah, and that it becomes important in terms of whatever you do, you must believe. You knew, let's go back to an event, 1986, here in our country, and I was a part of it. You were a part of it. When the then government decided that something that had led to the movement in terms of the people of the country, in terms of what free education, in terms of allowing university access to be available to people who could access it based on their academic ability, was going to be removed just like that. And I remember I was in a lab because my first training is in natural sciences, and we heard that in the budget debate, the then Prime Minister, Edward Seaga, says, as of such and such a date, we're going to now begin to ask people to contribute to their education in terms of access. And I never seen anything like this. We just spontaneously came out of our labs or wherever we're on the university campus, and we headed down to Mona Road. And there were no leaders in it. We just decided that the way that we would protest was just keep crossing the road. Mass of students crossing the road. So it caused gridlock. No vehicle couldn't pass. And I remember seeing my brother. He said, what are you doing out here? We're protesting. I said, it's not only for me alone, it's just the impact of what it's going to mean for not only me, but for the students.
Is that the same occasion on which students marched down to the Ministry of Education?
Yes, the same one, 1980.
All right, okay. Because it's what's interesting, you describe your role in it. My role in it, there was an organized march to the Ministry of Education.
So, but I'm saying the day when it was...
But no, I'm not denying what I just want to point out something. When everyone has a similar reaction to bad news, then you're going to have a diverse number of activities going on, which looks chaotic and is very organic, but it has the same effect of communicating disgust. And so at that time, it don't really matter who, if some are just crossing the road, some are heading down to the ministry, some are going to the Ministry of Finance, some are going to this principal's office, and there are enough of us, your message will get across.
Yeah.
All right, there's a message coming across to us. They're telling us it's 7 o'clock. We need to take a break as we contemplate how we're going to organize the next resistance. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Yeah, but that at first...
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Best FM. Keep listening.
It's our Diamond Jubilee. Ask a random person anywhere in the world about Jamaica,
and they may give you the following answers: the home of Bob Marley, reggae music, and Usain Bolt. They may add that it's either on their list of countries to visit, they've already been here a few times, got married here, or honeymoon on our island. Given the above, we can conclude that Jamaica is among the most popular Caribbean destinations. In 2019, over 4 million persons visited the island. Each year, a target is set for the number of visitors to the island, with the Ministry of Tourism and its stakeholders ramping up marketing efforts to ensure the target is met or, better yet, surpassed. But an increase in visitors would not make sense without an increase in hotel accommodations. So today, we'll be taking you back to where it all started, the catalyst that gave rise to the expansion of tourism as we know it now: hotel accommodations. In this Jamaica's 60th year of independence, we don't have to go far to find somewhere to stay. But up to 1970, the options were limited.
At one stage in 72, we didn't have any large hotel. The largest hotel would have been Pegasus in Kingston and Casa Montego in Montego Bay. And Holiday Inn was just being built.
Chairman of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, Godfrey Dyer. The completion of the Holiday Inn Hotel made Jamaica an attractive destination to a new kind of visitor and started a new era in the accommodation sector.
Then we started attracting groups, conventions, and that sort of market. And then, of course, you had the Intercontinental Hotels, which is now the Hilton Hotel in Jamaica.
Chairman of the Jamaica Tourist Board, JTB, John Lynch. As more and more hotels started popping up across the island, business owners began offering all-inclusive packages to guests. This wasn't a new concept on the island, as Frenchman's Cove in Port Antonio, Portland, has been offering all-inclusive deals from as early as the 1950s. This was followed by Negril Beach Club, now known as Hedonism 2, the couple's resorts, and Sandals.
People see real value in the all-inclusive product, and what Jamaica has successfully done, and Credit Sandals with that activity is pushing the envelope. They introduced a la carte dining under the plan. They would make a reservation, go to a restaurant. There are different dining options. And I believe they were the first ones to do suites. You could buy a suite in the all-inclusive and a beachfront room. Things like this.
As Destination Jamaica's popularity gained momentum, investor interest blossomed, resulting in the construction of several hotels and attractions on the North Coast. This marked the development of a new ecosystem that made Jamaica an even more attractive place to visit.
The government encouraged it. Individual investors found the spots that they wanted and they built hotels, and people developed attractions around the hotels because people want other things to do than staying in a hotel. And having good attractions, it adds to the attractiveness for Jamaica as a tourist destination.
Increased development along the North Coast gave rise to resort areas on the island, starting with Montego Bay.
Montego Bay, because of the airport and the accessibility and the hotels, a lot of the carriers started to fly in to Montego Bay, and Ocho has naturally developed because a resort should be no more than an hour from an international airport. But because of the attractiveness of Jamaica, we've been allowed to push the needle.
As the industry started to mature, with the construction of multiple hotels along the North Coast, the tourist subsector started to develop, further expanding and diversifying Jamaica's tourism product.
I remember when it was just one tour operator in the tourism business, Martin Tours. And after a few years that Martin Tours closed, that was when Juta developed.
Chairman of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, Godfrey Dyer. The expansion of accommodations on the island post-independence gave rise to numerous subsectors that have created Jamaica's tourism product.
Jamaica 60, reigniting a nation for greatness.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM, keep listening.
One and one and
When there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, live a bank or low line area. If you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen, so be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all, you can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales, shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Easy. Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com for bookings. Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on the Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. So Pastor was doing a tour of the pictures of the float and the celebrations. And what is your overall assessment, sir?
There were not a lot of people there, but anyway.
Was it a great display of nationalism or more like a very private...
That's big contrast, but I would say it never lived up to what you would have expected for
Looked like a private event that was done for, what you call it now, just public effect.
Oh, that'd be so sorry.
To be photographed and to be talked about, but it did not carry the heart and the spirit of the people.
Well.
And that was an early kind of projection. Many persons felt that, yes, we were likely to see something of that order, something that very much reflects the style and the thinking of the minister who was responsible or who is responsible for these matters, but it wouldn't really infect the people. There's a winner for the festival song. Mm-hmm. Despite, I tell you, I mean, we talked a bit about what was happening with the festival song competition, and we're happy that something else, but we never really did bond with any of those songs, or I can't tell you that, I was drawn to any one of them or listened to them, or I'm just glad that the voice of the people rose to the fore and something got done and there is a winner, and it's a young lady.
I don't know.
Yes, it's a young lady.
She was the only lady. There were 10 songs and the lady won.
And she was one of the late entrants or something.
Yeah,
I saw
because
some
remember-
press on it, but I didn't
Yeah, but
really
even
focus on it.
because one of the things that helps with that is just releasing the song so they every station can play it if they need to play it. But did we ever get copies of those songs, Mr. Engineer? Were they ever sent to us?
I think we have some of the songs there.
Well, yes, he has them.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Right. So it is that we did not, and this is now, we're talking about passive resistance. When you are not actively seeking out and involving yourself, and it came to my attention simply because of the awfulness of how it was being cancelled and so on. And in my own spirit, I knew that was not a good direction.
Yeah, it set the tone. It set the wrong.
So we actively advocated for something to be done about it. Once it was being done, we all wandered off and left it alone.
Oh, jeez. So that.
Hey, that's the truth. Do you know the word quotidian?
No, what is that?
It's a fancy way of saying ordinary or commonplace, garden variety, mundane, boring. The word is the most interesting thing about the word is the word itself. I brought it up because I am looking at what social scientists are saying about resistance in a democratic society. How do you offer resistance to effect change and maintain the democracy that you practice? Maybe you have improved on it in many different ways, but you are still a democratic society, meaning you don't regress to some kind of autocratic or authoritarian rule. And the reason it is a relevant, it's a relevant consideration because most times active resistance involves the use of arms, the use of civil unrest, the use of force. And typically, a strong man emerges in that process, and once he has got control of the reins of power, he is not minded to be democratic.
No, man, it becomes very repressive. That's just
that's been the right.
Take out all of your enemies and you lock up people, see people disappearing. What?
Yeah.
Oh, Brother Percy. I'm to Brother Percy and Sister Minette.
But then change. And that's why they say power corrupts. Absolutely. So that's something, and a lot of people shy away from being too vocal or active or getting to that boiling point where you become the thing that you were running from, or you become the thing you hate. Yeah. So as we consider how to bring about change and how to resist the forces that would seek to entrap you or keep you down, you have to give consideration to, well, all right, if I put too much authority, if a strong man emerges in this process, how am I going to rein him in and get him back to the point where the democracy that we favor can continue or can emerge?
Emerge, thrive, live. So
there's a study that was done. I should give credit to, you know what? You can find any number of those studies. Social scientists were looking at it, and they said that, I'm going to just quote directly what they say. They've argued that the organizational composition of resistance episodes shapes the likelihood of democratization. So the groups that take you into resistance, how those groups are made up, will determine the prospect of a democracy emerging. And in particular, organizations that are not designed to capture state power and are rooted in quotidian networks, such as
ordinary networks.
Yes, such as church, religious organizations. Religious organizations typically don't want to take state power.
True.
As I said it, I thought of like the Muslims and so on, where church and state are one. So, Trade unions don't want state power. But then I think about Jamaica, where the political parties emerged from trade unions.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And professional organizations, such as, give me a professional organization that might be
Doctors,
interested in
lawyers.
change. Yes, so the doctors might agitate strongly for better pay, and their agitation for better pay might wake up everybody else, and next thing you have serious change taking place, bringing the trade unions, right. The PSOJ, the PSOJ can be one of the organizations that advocate for change. Those organizations are most likely to generate democratization, and these scientists call them quotidian civil society organizations. These organizations have a more stable preference for democracy and an enduring capacity to resist attempts at authoritarian or autocratic rule in the medium term. So, if we as Jamaicans want to bring about change, use methods of resistance to bring about change, then we need to mobilize or inspire these ordinary, non-state power grabbing organizations to be a part of the process, to mobilize. So if you're a member of a trade union or you're a member of a church and you have a fiery young pastor, male or female, who you can set them to go and speak the truth to power, then you gotta push. And I think the more people push from diverse points, then you're gonna get that spontaneous looking thing that Pastor spoke about from the mid-80s, when students all decided to do something that showed they were not in favor of the imposition of the cess. It was an imposition of cess on tertiary education, which would have increased the cost of education, and probably some persons would have had to drop out. Now, about the issues that can galvanize that type of response, it needs to be an issue that hits you in the pocket. I think those are the ones to which people respond quickest and in a stronger way. You must see that it is taking away from your ability to survive. A number of things have happened which take away from our ability to survive, but they happened incrementally. And so now that is, you've got to be wise to the strategy of a government
of being used.
Yes, that give you death by 1,000 cuts.
Aye. It's like you put a frog. Remember they said if you want to the frog, you don't put him in boiling water
he'll just jump out.
He'll jump out. But if you slowly heat the water up, he'll be cooked, and he doesn't know that he's being cooked. Are we being cooked?
Jamaicans are frogs.
Are we being cooked? Are we being cooked?
I think we are already cooked.
You think so?
Some of us, yeah. It's just a question now.
You become immune to.
You can be
desensitized to what is happening about you, and it don't really matter.
Yeah, but
and that's why the heart is so important in terms of the heart condition of people become so important in terms of waking you up to reality of what's happening in your brother, what's happening in your sister.
And that's why you also have to believe in resurrection power. Because if a man has declared you dead and no longer fears you and just have you out there on display, it is very good for him to at some point be aware that you have the capacity to resurrect. Because I think in many ways, the powers that be, let me use an inoffensive, let me use a quotidian term.
The powers that be. Truth to power.
The powers that be have presumed us dead.
Aye. They do not know.
They take any step with us, and they feel very secure in themselves that it will not elicit any troubling response.
The powers
I see
that
it.
be.
I see it. Yeah. They say every kind of thing. They do every kind of thing.
And they don't expect a response.
And the only time we are cued to respond every 5 years.
Okay.
And they've figured out what to do with us on the anniversary on the 5th anniversary. They just full up a thing of money
And
start to
wagga.
Yes, and just buy.
That's why we know.
And buy this thing that we got in 1944, which we're like, what? This is like when Esau sold his birthright. Like, I'm hungry. Come on, what use is a birthright to me? So we have the vote, and every 5 years we take it out, and a man can say
15,000, 5,000,
yeah,
10,000.
Absolutely. You're hungry in the moment, and that vote, what does this mean to me? It hasn't brought me anything. People are going to win anyway. So that's our attitude towards political power.
And we need to wake up. And so therefore, what I'm hearing you saying...
Yes, what are you hearing me saying?
The resistance begins now with us in terms of emancipating ourselves from the slavery that...
Well, I'm glad you heard that.
Emancipating ourselves from mental slavery to begin to take back what is ours in terms of the rights that they have sought to take away from us. And we don't even know that they've taken away the rights. Because, let's go international.
Yes. We have visa.
I don't have none. I don't have none.
Man point his finger at me and say, I don't have none.
I don't have none.
I don't
have no visa. And
I live in a visa-free world.
But like the farmers in the Netherlands just went to task. They said, what kind of madness is this that the government is doing? And so they says, all right, let's go pack up all of our tractors and things and let them clearly understand what's happening. We're not going to stand for this. You're taking away our livelihood in the name of other things. We said this not making any sense at all to us. And so we see it in a lot of countries. We don't see it in our media though, If you watch the news, you don't see that around the world, in Europe, in other places, people are saying, no, you've gone too far. You have gone too far in terms of our rights that you have taken away from us in the name of something that
was a fiction.
Yeah. So it's...
Some people are waking up.
Yeah, people are waking up around the world. Yeah.
I want to share a little bit of what these folks have said. I'm researching. This is not all my native ideas. They resonate well with me, but I wanted to get,
Before you go on to that, True to Power said some things online.
Yes, I'm coming to that.
True to Power.
Right. Empirical analysis of new data on the organizational composition of maximalist mobilization in Africa from 1990 to 2015 supports the argument that the re-democratization or our new, fresh democracy emerging is very much connected to how the group that takes power is composed. And, we can all take our own look at Africa to see how many of the rebel governments or the hostile taking of power by force, how much of that led to independent democracies that then functioned. Mostly when you have a strong man emerge, he continues in the same vein as Pastor said. He kills all his enemies, he clears the field, he establishes himself, and the whole thing about democracy becomes a pipe dream. Even right here we saw with Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, whom I really did admire, after he had taken power and loved it for a while, he then said he wanted to be president for life. and catapulted Venezuela into what we see now. And the producer is reminding me that he was president for life because he died in the job, which is why I love God. He will give you the desire of your heart.
And then take it away from you.
Absolutely. He got his desire of his heart. He wanted to be president for life. He died in the job. And
is that we'll leave that out.
Yeah, but anyway, that is, and so the big thing that I wanted us to get out of the last few minutes of chatter, the big thing I want you to get is that though a man may presume you dead, and you are 4 days in the grave, and Lord, he stinketh. Just remember,
resurrection.
You're made in the image and likeness of God. your body is capable of being resurrected from the dead. And the great example that we celebrate is that Christ resurrected himself. The Holy Spirit in him never died. You have the resurrection power. So a man might be looking at you and saying, oh, we have done everything now, we bury him. So don't feel that they have won and we have no power and we can't make a difference. And
we always have power.
We have the power. And here are some social scientists telling us too that we don't have to have a strong man with guns and so on leading us into the charge. The evidence, empirical studies have shown that the most successful resistance to change, the agents who lead the successful ones, are the ordinary folk.
Say that again. Say that again. Preach it, sister. What I say? Preach it again. Say that again, Pastor. Say that again, Pastor. Preach it, preach it, preach it, preach it.
You know, I'm not going to take this harassment.
Preach it, preach it, preach it, Pastor.
But yeah,
it's true.
You and me, the ordinary folk, we are the ones who can get the change going and then have a peaceful, civilized existence. If we have to rely on a strong man to step out of the mist with a gun and some bullying tactics, when he gets power, he now let it go. And he's going to be worse than because whatever you are fighting against.
That is the
nature of man by himself.
Right.
Man who is infused by the power of the Holy Spirit and the divine creator will rise above that kind of behavior. But it happens in the ordinary folk.
And I want to repeat that. You see that thing about the ordinary folk?
Yes.
And even from where I sit some other times, there is such wisdom that comes out of the ordinary folk for the solution to the problems that they are facing. And you know, I'm not knocking my tertiary education because it has helped me in terms of focus and understand the principles. But some of the times we think that because we've been to places of higher learning that we, in a way, are better off. We know what is right. And I remember when I was leaving university, some of my colleagues have said how much money they wanted. Let me say, but you not have no experience. Or not going to the person place and demanding that kind of money. You have to go and learn the experience because there's something that comes from just having the experience. So it is with a humility of heart and spirit that I'm saying to all of us, we have the power. It is within us to bring about the change because we know what is good and right for us. We know what is good and is needed for us in this time in terms of bringing about a solution.
And also we are the ones who have to support it once the dust settles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, get involved.
Yeah, get involved. Don't say you can't.
So now I'm busy clearing the chat from all the pornographic material that immediately popped up.
When we started
it's actually funny, yes, after we made that point about the ordinary folk. As Conrad would say, Pegasus went wild. Usually I get like 3 or 4 of them, but this is like a whole batch. I'm not going to let it distract me because you wanted to share what Truth to Power said, which is kind of funny if you're not the subject of it. So I don't expect everybody to find it fun. Let's just share though. Jacqueline Biggs says she believes that the time for passive resistance. I believe passive resistance is a time now. Okay, I'm not sure what it does. It mean it's time for passive resistance, or it's time for resistance and passive resistance not enough. Not sure, but whichever one she's saying, resistance is featured in it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we have to mount up the kind of resistance that works. And then Truth to Power says the celebrations may have been a total flop, but wait a few months and we'll hear how much money was spent for which no value can be shown. And others are still talking about how much money was spent on the Commonwealth caper. That's what I'm calling it now.
The caper? She went
the Commonwealth caper. Just sounds like.
No, but
a nice name for it.
And then, but you remember though, you were off.
Yes.
But the headline was $3 billion for summer aid. 750 million of that, if I'm correct, would have been spent to beautify. And we're going to our 7:30 break. I'll come back and comment on that.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Stay with us.
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Best FM. Keep listening.
People, are you listening?
If you choose to remain at home after an evacuation order has been issued, you do so at your own risk.
Get down, get down! Heed the warning!
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling her, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. Pastor is going to explain to me about the summer relief that I missed while I was...
Yeah, because there's an announcement made by the Minister of Finance that the government was allocating $3 billion approximately, Ministry of Labor, but a significant amount was to have been done in terms of the emancipation cleanup. And then the MPs working with the municipal councils would be responsible for moving garbage, fixing up the place, and anything else that they thought would have been right in terms of lifting it. But the question is, I can understand that. And so I don't know what amount of money was paid to the numerous persons you saw on Saturday and Sunday painting sidewalks. Painting broken sidewalks that them really should fix, that the handicap and the blind can walk and about them too.
Yeah.
Versus doing a one-off thing. And you alluded to it, that they have so socialized us in terms of our vote that when election draw near, they haven't done anything for many years in terms of doing things that are strategic that will cause the nation to be lifted up out of where we are at. And they do that and people are satisfied. At the same time, it's time to change, because even Sunday when people are painting sidewalk with the Jamaican colors all over the place in all the different communities. And I'm saying, wow. One day.
Well, Earl Brown says, and I hope it's tongue-in-cheek, he says how many people were employed for the celebrations and describe that as a little positive. And this is where we are always sort of at odds with ourselves. The persons who make the small occasional gain, even if it is on a cycle, every summer you can say, all right, I'm going to get some kind of crash program work. Those persons make up the numbers because with adult suffrage, it's one man, one vote. And it may cause some of the wealthy people to wish for the days when you voted based on wealth, because then you could determine the shape of your government without having to worry about the mindset of the man who is quite happy getting a little summer work and he can send his kids back to school or not. But, he doesn't make any direct link between his condition and the people who are running his country. In fact, he doesn't really think it's his country. He lives here, but he has no umbilical connection to whatever is going on. His survival might be tied to the place where he lives or a relationship he's in or something very narrow in its focus that interrupts his ability to see that the people who come around and give you that break are not giving you anything. They are the same ones who are maintaining the structure that keeps you where you are. So when we see, how do we sort of break that cycle and get into the head or the mindset of that individual so they can begin to see the links, the causation line between the man who is there giving him the money for the cheap labor and his overall condition.
And role of education. But I do believe with discussions that you're having with different people, we love chat with people. So we talk to anybody we see and begin to find out, pose a question and begin to understand where their thinking is. And I do believe slowly people are waking up to the reality of what the situation is. And probably two persons waking up to that reality might explain why is it that so few people voted and people continue to vote, in terms of saying it don't make no sense. But it makes sense because it is your vote, and it is a way, if you vote, then you need to hold that person accountable for what you have given them your vote to do. And so the question is, how do we return to a place where we were very active in the political process as individuals and very involved and brought about the change? Because the policy of the scarce, what is it? Scarce what?
The scarcity complex.
Yeah, you got to change it. There's more than enough. And I guess... have
I depressed you, Pastor?
No, I'm just thinking what we need to do, because I know there's always a way and a solution. So it's to get the revelation and the inspiration out of the divine to begin to change it.
To a different group, I was saying very stridently on Saturday that it begins with taking responsibility.
Agree with you.
You must see yourself as being a part of the reason why things are the way they are.
Okay, I agree.
It don't matter where you sit in the economy, it no matter how small you are, how big you are, whatever your situation might be, you must say, I am a part of the whole. And therefore, the condition of the whole is in part my responsibility. And then you can you can get fancy and say, all right, what part of it is my responsibility? Have I not spoken up enough? Am I not teaching my children well? Am I not interacting with my neighbors in a positive way? Am I too lazy? Should I be going out and doing something? Should I be more insistent about getting what is mine? Should I take back what is mine because I sat by and let a man steamroll over me and gone with it? It is first rule, I think, the first waking up, the first sign of the resurrected man is the renewed mind, which takes responsibility. It is not anybody else's fault. It is mine. I am responsible for where I am. And then there's a principle that was eloquently put to me yesterday in a meeting. Nothing happens unless you do something. It is not going to change unless you get up and do something. Sounds like a very simple thing to say, but just it not gonna change because your MP do something or because your neighbor or your son send you some money or no. At the very least, if your son is gonna send you money, it's because you asked. You did something. If your MP gonna do something, it's because you went and you pushed. And you didn't just go by yourself, you got your neighbors to join you and you pushed. So it's not going to change. It will never shift unless you do something. Now, that mindset is crucial, you know, because sometimes a lot of things are shifting around you, but you're not seeing it. You're not looking.
So you have to do something.
So you have to do something, if it's even to open your eye and look at it. There are some of us who take the ostrich approach and just stick your head in the sand and think that it will go away by the time you come back up. Take your head out of the sand. At least do that. Look up. At least do that. So those are the two critical things. One, recognizing, say, I feel your fault. Where you are, where you're sitting, it is my fault why I'm here. Take responsibility. That's the first thing. And it's something that I don't shy away from in my own affairs. At the very least, me say I did stick out my hand and shake the man's hand instead of run him. Or I me open the door and make him come in. At the very least, I'm going to say, I opened the door.
Okay.
I answered the call. I'm going to own my part in it. Because when you own your part in it, you then begin to say, well, what could I have done differently? Sometimes there isn't anything you could have done differently, you know. And so then you come to the business of forgiving yourself. Minute, you couldn't have done anything different from that. A thing happened to me, and that I there was a warning that I saw at the time it was unfolding. I observed the warning. I put it in my mind. I even expressed it to somebody that you see that just happened. I'm gonna pay for it. It's gonna come back. But when I look at the situation, there wasn't any. My options were limited. The warning was just to prepare me for the day when it come back. So you see the day when it come back, I stamp on it with both feet. Because I say, you were planning to do this. I saw it. And I step on it with both feet. Then we move on. But you got to take responsibility. And in taking responsibility, you can figure out, how much better could I have done in this situation? So your choices were limited. You did what you had to do. Forgive yourself and take the next decision now. Move on.
Which is a principle.
In
counting. No, in counting. Generally.
I mean, no, you write your thesis.
It's just a principle because people come to you and they say, boy, and they in the past, and you say, that is so, but you got to take responsibility for what happened, and then now you begin to do the things that will shift and change your present reality, because that would impact what happens in the future. Oh, that's so.
Yep.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. And, people have come and people have said different things. And I say, what happened? You need to forgive yourself. God, Father, forgive you. So,
you
need to forgive yourself. Father, forgive you. So, if Father forgive you, He's the ultimate judge and arbiter of everything. When He says He's forgiving you, just let it go. Forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself. But you have to understand it so you're not constantly making the same mistake.
And that is what we're doing. But would you say that as Jamaicans we're not understanding ourselves and understand the process? Is there light at the end of the tunnel?
There is always light at the end of the tunnel because that's the nature of a tunnel.
You think you're brilliant, right? But the question is, do you think you can stay in that tunnel all of that time?
No, the thing is to keep moving. The thing is to keep moving. It's not true. That's not the nature of a tunnel. Oh, there's some tunnel that only what?
Go in, they don't come, but there's not a light.
Then that's not a tunnel.
Yeah, it's a tunnel into the ground. Yeah, you can't stay there.
That is not a tunnel.
What is it?
If it is a, well, what would it be now? I'll say it's a tube, but it's not a tube because tube have two ends. It's a silo.
Oh.
You're in a silo, and you must know when you're in a silo and not a tunnel. And don't look for
Sometimes it block up. So there's no
Then
light.
it has become a silo.
Yeah, block
And
up.
what you need to do is fly upwards and get out. Yes, silo sit on the ground.
I hear you.
Yeah, anyway, we've digressed a little bit. Earl Brown says, when one gets a little break, one should take it until one gets something better or one can do better. I always say half a loaf of bread is better than none.
And so, but it's Earl, that kind of mentality. I understand what he's saying, but that is what they use against us.
There's a place for this.
There's a place for that.
And you have to know when you're in that place.
But
which is back to the silo tunnel argument. You must know when you're in a tunnel and you keep pushing to the end. Or you must know when you're the one building the tunnel. Either way, you must come to a point of conclusion.
Yeah, but you remember we've spoken about scarcity.
Scarcity, yes.
Yeah, because the people who keep telling you that you can't get the whole of bread is because them holding on to it for themselves.
Them a hide up the flour.
And then things say, you need to get it. But it's true, you know.
Yeah, but the half a loaf of bread is better than none is not meant to stop you from pursuing the whole bread.
No.
It is for you to use the half and fortify yourself for the fight. Don't throw away the half and say, I don't want it. It's all or nothing. No, the half is going to sustain you until you get to the whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a matter of the perspective.
Right, and so it goes back to perspective that we're talking about last week in terms of how we look and deal with situation. Too many of us operate in our lives from a scarcity mentality, which means that I hold on to everything for me and I'm not thinking about the other person, individual in the situation. And I'm just thinking also in regards to our government, in terms of our governments of how they have done things. They always say there's not enough. But one of the striking things, I'm making a connection here with Orlando Patterson. He said, don't say that you don't have enough money to do the education. It's just because of your thinking and you're putting it in places that if you were really to better prioritize and deal with it, it would work for the greater good of the people.
Well, he went a little deeper than that, actually, by my reckoning, because he was looking at the empirical evidence and saying, you are spending more than is required to accomplish the objectives as you have stated them. And your objectives are not small or immaterial. Your objectives are well stated, they're broadly stated, they're the right objectives for what we are seeking to accomplish. And the money you're spending can accomplish that and more. So he wasn't even like making an observation of a philosophical nature. He was describing qualitatively, quantitatively what we are doing. We're spending more than is required, but he did say we haven't prioritized it well. More of it should go to early childhood education and a lot of some of the assumptions. I'm so sorry we didn't have better quality audio for that interview with Dr. Thompson, Canute Thompson.
He's coming back.
And we're going to have to just repeat some of those things because he has studied the assumptions that underpin education, the policy for education in this country. And some of those assumptions need to be thrown out. I mean, there's one that he reprised, which was of interest to me because he said in the early days, the policy for education was that each parish could set, the principal of a school had the authority to set a curriculum that spoke directly to the priorities in his local economy.
Correct.
Which if you were to practice that faithfully, you would see that the students are equipped based on. The only issue I have with it is that if the economy is stuck at some prehistoric stage and you are still preparing people for that, you have a
challenge.
problem. But,
That's where the overall vision of the country comes into place.
Right. And it ties into something years ago when I first thought about even volunteering to help anybody in a constituency. I remember a politician in the St. Thomas area saying that his desire was to build out an economy for his constituency. And I thought, and of course, it is a man who had lived abroad and so on and was accustomed to how in the U.S. different municipalities have their budget and their own mandate, and you think of yourself as a little state. I thought, how interesting a perspective, because if every MP saw his constituency as a business with an economy that had to be managed and grown, and the constituents are workers or stakeholders whose needs have to be considered and met, and so on. Wouldn't that be just an amazing direction in which you could take local government?
That's where it needs to go.
Yeah.
That's why it's called local government.
Yeah, so and then now the cabinet
a lot of things would have to shift
at
because
the top
of that. Yeah.
and look at, all right, Jamaica as a business have different departments, and you would want to make sure that there was some equity, cross subsidies in areas. If the breadbasket of St. Elizabeth don't have a particular or can't afford it at market rate, then a neighboring constituency would provide it, and the government would subsidize the cost of it, so everybody could live well and be contributing to the whole in the right way. There is great hope in my heart that the day will come when you will see that emerging.
The day has come.
Yes, I love it that you said the day has come.
The day has come. We got to shift.
Yeah. There's a thing happening as we talk about quotidian networks.
Mm-hmm.
I see the church community emerging more strongly in creating those linkages between the congregant in the pew, who is also a board member, a CEO, a government employee. I'm seeing churches, those everyday, ordinary organizations that need to take a stand on public matters. I'm seeing them playing a greater role in teaching and sharing and mobilizing persons to carry out their functions in the different places of power where they sit with a great deal more heart.
Well, you're talking about shifting them to marketplace ministry.
Yes.
In terms of discipleship.
Yes.
In terms of how you see yourself. Well, this has been a challenge we've had, I must admit, within the church. But if you go back to the original principles, when Jesus was here, he was always talking about what was happening in the marketplace in terms of these principles I give to you, you can use it in the marketplace.
Yeah.
You can use them in the marketplace. These are the principles that bring about real change, that bring about the resistance, that shift not move the cheese, but shift the way that people do business and do things. Mm-hmm. Because those principles that are written in the Beatitudes, those principles,
beautiful attitudes,
yes, are so very powerful and brought about change. You know what happened to the church? If people understand church history, the church was having so much impact in the Roman Empire that the then emperor said, no man, them big and stronger than me, so let me make them the state religion so I can put them in these edifices so I can better control them. And it lost its power to bring about real change. People have never even thought about that.
Which people have never thought about?
No, some people never thought about what happened in the early church. When you read it and the impact that they were having, they were some of them.
Most persons...
these are they who have turned the world upside down. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but a lot more negative results have emerged from the church's excesses. Because when the church enjoyed that level of impact, it did not behave like the servant king.
No, it didn't.
And so that it was captured and put in an edifice is a just result
because they never understood the real power that they had.
Right. And then because of their own excesses, they ended up being neutered. And if you consider it, you would recognize that is the inevitable path of anything that exceeds the position that was defined or that it occupies in the will of God.
Mm-hmm.
Any strong man who challenges God, meaning you see yourself as bigger than the Creator who gave you a bit the authority to use some of His power, because all power and authority emanate from the Creator. All. Anyone who's enjoying a little bit of it is enjoying it because He has set it to be so. And when you abuse it and move off on your own, because now you, like Nebuchadnezzar, you're surveying all that you own and you've conquered and there's none greater than you, then you know right away you're destined for some
You're going to eat grass.
You're going to eat grass.
I love that expression.
Or suck salt out a wooden spoon.
Why not? No, sucking salt. It was actually eating grass for 7 years. And it is recorded in not only the history,
Christian history, but in the
outside. And I'm saying,
right. And there was a king that went mad and was crawling around eating grass. Right. So that's the order of things. You don't have to listen. You can check yourself. I'm sure that our prime minister check himself occasionally. Maybe not very often, but I'm sure he checks himself. You can check yourself and measure where you are on the Nebuchadnezzar chart.
There's a chart too, It's not a joke, It's a continuum. You start as servant and you go over to the excess and you say, okay, now.
Yes, I got to dial it back.
Okay, now the watchers come in and intervene. Make a declaration.
Like we are among the watchers who are saying to our government, to the princes, we are amongst those who are saying, check yourself. It's not out of any great love for you personally.
No man, me love them. Me want them. Me love them. So don't want them.
Yes, but it's not so much that as the love for the whole
body politic.
The whole body politic, because when rulers stray and so on, it is the people that suffer.
Oh, jeez.
In fact, sometimes some of them don't suffer. Once in a while, a king will get captured and his eyes are plucked out. But when he's taken into the exiled country, he eats at the other king's table. Even sometimes, maybe they're on the floor and their thumbs, what they used to do, cut off their thumbs and their big toe.
Yeah, so they can't move.
So they can't escape. And they throw food at you, but at least, you're alive. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, your people are being raped and burnt and terrorized and enslaved. And so most times, the leaders get a better experience. Yeah, and even there are times, too, when they are summarily executed. But at least you get a merciful, quick death. Your people, on the other hand, have to exist under the boot heel of some terrorists when you go bad.
Which brings you to the point we must honor the law of God. Yeah. And what it means. Yeah. It comes back to that.
Can you recall, Pastor, any experience, a humbling experience that you had to overcome? Not overcome, but just accept and move through it.
I've had many.
Oh, I've had a few myself.
I've had many. When you think you're high and mighty and things cannot happen to you, and it happens to you, it humbles you.
Well, you don't even have to think you're high and mighty, because I must say I haven't had any of those moments. You've had a high and mighty thought?
No, high and mighty in terms of how you deal with people and they come and you say, but that couldn't happen to me. It couldn't happen to me in terms of how you deal with people, and it humbles you, because for me, what it did for me was to open my heart of compassion and allowed me
empathy.
To develop even greater empathy to understand where people are at. And some of the times, even recent times, you deal with some people and I'm talking to an individual and I say, it's 14 years I'm dealing with you. And you're not listening. You just set in your mind and I have to stop and say, Father, give me the grace. Because the thing is to cut off the person. Mm-hmm. 14 years is a long time in somebody's life, and you kind of say to them, do this, do that, and they don't do it, and you're going, okay.
So
I'm not getting to myself.
there's a definition of insanity being when you're doing the same thing, same way, expecting
But Father would,
different results.
what Father would say to us.
All right,
Word of
producer
God
is
is
saying
saying-
time. All right, please, we're going to take our 8 a.m. break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We've been talking about the role of resistance in promoting change or effecting change. And we've been looking at different types of resistance. And we are particularly interested in those forms of resistance that would still leave us with a functioning democracy. We don't want a strong man to emerge and inflict greater terror on us. So we're looking at the ways in which ordinary folk can use their power and authority to bring about change, but by offering resistance against the things that oppress. Please stay with us. We're going to be right back. This is The Morning Connection.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Hello, I'm Debbie Russ with the BBC News. Russia's Supreme Court has designated a unit of Ukraine's National Guard, the Azov Regiment, as a terrorist group. The regiment played a key role in the defense of Mariupol. Here's Steve Rosenberg.
The Supreme Court ruling means that Russia will not view Azov fighters it has captured as prisoners of war under the Geneva Convention, but as members of a terrorist organisation it can put on trial. Those who are prosecuted face up to 20 years in prison. The Azov Regiment does have far-right roots. It was set up in 2014 as a volunteer militia to fight Russia-backed separatists in eastern Ukraine. It was later incorporated into Ukraine's National Guard and claimed to have shed its ultranationalist ideology.
The United States has accused the Taliban of violating the Doha Agreement signed in 2020, which led to the withdrawal of US forces from Afghanistan last year by sheltering the al-Qaeda leader Ayman Zawahiri. He'd been killed in a US drone strike in the capital, Kabul. Lise Doucette is there.
Ever since an explosion rocked the centre of Kabul on Sunday morning, there's been speculation about an attack on what was said to be an empty house. This morning, nearby workers confirmed to us this building was hit. The balconies of the multi-storied villa are now covered with plastic sheeting. Armed Taliban angrily pushed journalists away. Local residents told us in whispers that they'd seen Arabs moving through these streets. Now they express surprise and worry that the al-Qaeda leader had taken up residence in the house of a senior Taliban leader.
Russia has warned the United States that an expected visit by the US House Speaker to Taiwan would put it on a collision course with China and provoke tensions in the region. China's foreign ministry said it hoped that Washington was clear about the gravity and sensitivity of a potential visit by the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. The Election Commission of Pakistan has ruled that the former Prime Minister Imran Khan's PTI party has received illegal funds. In a case that's been going on since 2014, the Commission's investigation found the PTI received and concealed over $2 million from several undeclared foreign sources. Political parties in Pakistan are prohibited from accepting foreign funding. Akbar S. Barbaris is a petitioner in the Election Commission's foreign funding case.
The Election Commission of Pakistan today announced that there is evidence that foreigners funded PTI, that Pakistani companies funded PTI, which is illegal, that foreign companies funded PTI, which is grossly illegal because then you fall into the category of foreign-aided party, that PTI concealed accounts, which is very serious because it concealed accounts before the Election Commission of Pakistan.
BBC News. The energy company BP has reported its highest profits for 14 years, and the second biggest in its history. It made more than $8 billion between April and June. BP said shareholders would receive a 10% dividend. Energy firms have made enormous gains from the soaring global price of oil and gas, while many consumers in countries worldwide are struggling to meet spiralling energy bills. Campaigners for press freedom say Ethiopia now ranks alongside neighbouring Eritrea as the worst jailer of journalists in sub-Saharan Africa. Kalkidan Yibeltal reports from Addis Ababa.
Since the first shots were fired in Tigray, Ethiopia's northernmost region, in November 2020, at least 63 journalists and media professionals have been jailed, 8 of whom remain behind bars. That's according to the Committee to Protect Journalists, that added the intent to control the narrative of the war had been a major driver behind the increased hostilities towards the press. The arrests were made in the capital Addis Ababa and 5 other regions, including Tigray, where communications blackouts have continued to impact the free flow of information.
New research has shown that rainwater in every part of the planet now contains dangerous levels of what are known as forever chemicals. Scientists say the substances, called PFAS, leach out from hundreds of items such as paint, non-stick pans and waterproof clothing. Researchers say the forever chemicals have not yet become a direct threat to people's health, but must be swiftly restricted. The chief executive of a Saudi-funded golf tour has revealed that Tiger Woods turned down more than $700 million to join the series. Greg Norman was defending the Breakaway Live competition in an interview on American TV. Activists accuse the Saudi state of using sport to distract from human rights abuses. Woods has chosen to stay loyal to the long-established PGA circuit. BBC News.
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Best FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
Warning, when there is a hurricane warning, button down, tie down, everything. Lift appliances and furniture off the ground and secure your valuable items. If you wanna boat, secure it on land and turn on your yard. If you a fisherman, make sure you turn off every breaker, and before you sleep, turn off your generator. Flooding, that is a real danger. If you live a gully bank, live a bank or low line area. If you see flood waters are rising, get out, get out. Heed the warning. If your land starts slipping and a sliding, get out, get out. Heed the warning. Hurricanes gonna happen. Be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Easy. Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com for bookings. Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, away I do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, send you.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
I try calling her, cause trust me.
Waiters, Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Oh, welcome back to the Morning Connection. Before we open the lines, and I'm going to recite the numbers, I just want to sort of summarize what we've been talking about, because I really would love for our callers. I know you have your own thing that you want to say, but one or two of you, please focus and let's advance this issue, which I have targeted for discussion this morning. So take a note now, phone numbers: 876-619-1508, 876-279-8473. Those are the numbers on which you can call us. And because we have been looking at all things relating to freedom, emancipation, and so on, independence and the like, I have invited you into a conversation with me on the role of resistance in effecting change. Whether it is political, social, whatever, change in your circumstances, how can you resist against the things that are keeping you bound in order to bring about the change you desire? I'm going to read just a little bit of social science, political science to you, just to remind you of the framework. Democracy, we are a democratic society, so we're going to behave like one. Democracy exists where leaders achieve power through free and fair elections, where there is a relative certainty in the institutions for alternation in power, but some uncertainty as to the outcome of those alternation procedures, so there's a contest. And you use your right to vote, and there are some basic freedoms of association, information, and expression which can make the elections meaningful. Democratization is the movement towards this ideal point of democracy, and autocratization or authoritarianism is a movement in the opposite direction. Many Jamaicans are concerned about where we are on that spectrum. Are we a true democracy where elections are free and fair, where there is a true contest in place for the result, and where persons are invested, freely expressing themselves, freely moving through the process to get a government that accepts the authority you're giving them, is accountable to you, and can produce a just result for you in terms of how justice is administered, how government goods and services are dealt with. If there's a problem, we can fix it. They hold themselves accountable, and they will even self-regulate, because they are so in tune with the will of the people and so respectful of the authority that we have given to them. When that goes off track, are we man enough, woman enough, people enough to resist the behavior that is being imposed on us and bring about the change that we desire? So can we open the lines now? 619-1508, 279-8473. It's the Morning Connection with Minette and Percival.
Yes, it is. Indeed, as a friend of mine once said, yes, indeed.
Which friend is that?
You know, man, you hear him all the time on emceeing programs and stuff. Yes, indeed. You know me I talk about? You don't know me I talk about?
It sounds familiar, but I don't recall any name.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Tommy McCowan.
Tommy Cowan.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
So, you know, in the break, I was saying to Lowell that my focus in the conversation this morning is just examining how we can get to that point of change without a strong man emerging.
Without a bloody thing?
You know, without that, I'm not talking about the Messiah now. I'm talking about the bloody, yes, that's what I'm talking about, where it is achieved by violence. There's a caller on the line. Oh, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Oh, I heard the phone ringing, and I hear it ringing again. All right, so and I was looking at in democratic societies, like we saw as America went through their thing, we saw Donald Trump emerging as a very strong personality, and with his own way of doing things, and we saw how the world and even America reacted to that. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning, Wayne.
morning, Mr. Pastor.
Good morning, Brother Wayne. How are you?
I'm good.
Wayne, what is happening with your line this morning?
I'm good. You hear me?
We're hearing you better now, yes. There's some static on the line.
Change. Change. All right. Resistance, change. And again, when I ask, depends on what kind of change you want or we want.
So there needs to be agreement on the change that we're seeking.
Yeah, we have to have that agreement because as Christian-minded people, you might want a change that fits the Christian life, the Bible, the laws of God. Right? I may ask now, what is the laws of God? You have to explain that to me. Let me understand what is the laws of God. Right? So, all of that will have to take into proper consideration and reason upon these things. You know, it might take a time, it might take weeks and months to come to a final agreement. You know, so it depends what kind of change you want. And
yeah, and I think, Wayne, that is why those who have studied it concluded that the organizations that promote and are most effective in getting desirable change, like the church and the trade union, and these are organizations in which the people already have a common understanding
of what it
and
means.
Have agreement on certain things, so they can move as one.
But Wayne, as you mentioned the laws of God, in your understanding, is the laws of God in terms of implementation good for everybody? In terms of peace and stability and so on? What do you think?
Well, my God, some people have different
understanding of God.
So may I say your understanding? That's what may I ask you.
Yeah. My God is the God that the Bible tell me about. The Bible will read there. My God of Jerusalem, the God of David, the God of Abraham is my God. So these laws are written in the Bible, given to Moses. You know, I see them as the only way out.
Okay.
For lasting peace and harmony.
Okay. All right.
I don't put aside none of it. When we read through the whole life and meditate and think about it, the way my spirit understand it. Yeah, I see these are the best words. I love living in a land that's governed by these laws.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because otherwise, the lands that are not governed by these laws, they're not living a life where any peaceful-minded people should want to
covet,
to be a part of. You know, they're killing and stealing and cheating, and people have black words and them don't mean it. You know, despitefulness and them things that bring chaos, them things that bring death and destruction. You know.
But you are still right. I mean, it is good that you have an understanding of the laws of God, which would make you support a movement that is promoting that kind of change. But you're still correct that the process will require education and information sharing on what is the change that people are seeking to introduce. Because the resistance against something that is abhorrent, something that you despise, you don't want, that is instinctive. And you don't really need to be agreed on what's going to replace it. You just need to agree that it should not exist. And a lot of times we achieve agreement on that much faster than we achieve agreement on what should replace it. And you know, we see that happening in elections of yesteryear, when you just know you've had enough of this regime and you vote them out. But you don't spend much time looking at what you're voting in.
That's important.
So I take your point that people need to be in agreement on what change we're putting forward. So like right now, and I may have heard you say it, which is why I'm raising it with you, people will say, we're done with the JLP and the PNP. But you can't vote out the JLP without voting in something.
Yeah.
So then,
what are you voting in?
What are you voting in?
What are we voting in?
Yeah. And as a consequence, some people just don't vote.
Mm-hmm.
But that don't advance the cause either way, because it's not a static situation where you can freeze it. When one lose, you stop the game. There is a winner. That's the nature of the game.
Yeah. And when we vote in the change and the people that are supposed to govern the change, we and every individual have to know their responsibility and maintain that, because there are certain things each and every one of us personally have to do that.
I love that.
Right. I'm in agreement with that. That is the personal responsibility that we are advocating.
You
have to say, I'm my fault, and I must do everything in my power to fix that.
The country and a whole need each other. So the main thing that benefits us all, we must all make sure that is maintained, that is looked after and that is cared for.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much. The call is deteriorating rapidly. We're just getting like static on your line. So you know that you're always welcome to call us back. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, and good morning to everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, a comment on the topic you mentioned this morning.
Yes.
Resistance.
Yeah, okay, yes. I'm going to mention that. But I also going to comment on the previous speaker, the gentleman that spoke before a while ago.
Yes, Wayne.
Yes, and the society leadership and rule by laws of God and support. I have often agreed with Bongo that he and we don't believe in theocracy. And I think that some Rastas and other denominations are advocating theocracy. That means rule by God or rule by Selassie or things like that. And because they say Selassie is the earth righteous ruler, elect of God, kings of kings and lord of lords, and he is earth righteous ruler. I don't think there isn't going to be any one ruler for the world or for the earth. So I don't think Selassie is. And I don't think there should be any ruler of the earth, so to speak. Society should be run, as Bongo said, by rules of law and not by personality. The next thing is several of the countries today in the world that are theocracy are the worst in terms of human rights and things like that. You think of the Middle East and parts of North Africa with the what call it Sharia law.
Sharia. Yes. Did you form the impression that Wayne was advocating a theocracy?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. You're just sharing your views on it. Because the point he was making is that when you advocate for change, you need to know what kind of change you're ushering in. And he says some persons might say they want changes that are based on the laws of God. But then you would need to know what laws and so on and so forth. But you're expressing your view now that...
Yeah. So if you... As I was saying, the Arabic or the Middle Eastern countries, they claim that they are ruling the country by the laws of, quote unquote, the laws of God. And the laws of God their laws of God is, I think, probably different from our laws of God. I mean, the Christian rather.
Yes.
Because they claim that they run the country by the laws of God, Allah. And in that country, if you catch a woman having sex that is not married, she is probably stoned to death today. And in many of those countries, women have no right, so to speak, and are not allowed to go to school and get education and things like that. Mm-hmm. And those are the laws of dear God. And the Sharia law, which I don't remember, I don't know the exact, but it seems to be very suppressive and against women and things like that.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: have you considered any I would say no good examples of a theocracy at work?
Yes.
Which one? Yeah, which one have you looked at?
Good example of theocracy?
Yeah, at work, yes.
You mean country?
No. Well, however, whether it's in history or modern society, wherever, have you seen it? You have mentioned what is happening in the Middle East, which to my mind is not theocracy. That is not an example of theocratic rule. But I just wondered if in your assessment of those perversions of theocracy, you have considered the original model. Because
the original model, as I see it, would be when God was ruling Israel.
Yes. Right. Well, that's the only example that we have to draw on, really.
Yes. And even, because at that time, some of the leaders disobeyed God, like Saul and others, when Jeremiah, the guy with that Jeremiah was warning and the others.
Well, yeah, but those were not. Saul was a monarch, so that's not theocracy.
Okay. Yeah. So I stand corrected. Which one then during those era from David, Solomon, around that? Which one of them would be theocratic?
The theocratic rule went right up from Moses, from the time of the Exodus until Saul was installed. That's when, because it was on the installation of Saul as king, that is when God expressed himself as he said to Samuel the prophet, it is not you they have objected to, it is me, because I am their king.
Don't take it personal.
It is me they have rejected, because until I put Saul in place, I am the king. I am their king.
And they're going to begin to understand what it is.
Yeah. So then Israel was under the local administration. Then was with prophets and judges. Mm-hmm. I think we have lost that caller. Have we?
Yeah. We have another caller.
Right. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Africa love my sister and brother. Give thanks.
Give thanks, Ras Kremlin.
Yeah, blessed Rob. I'm going to quote from a pre-emancipation history of the West Indies.
You found it?
Yeah, man, I'm one of these things, man.
Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
All right, now. Against slavery and religious growth, it was argued that slavery imposed by man was contrary to the will of God, and that the subjection and enslavement of one race by another violate the principle of the equality of man. For slavery, there was nothing immoral in slavery, since as an ancient institution, it was sanctified by time and was also permissible by divine scripture. Now, those are the people who were for slavery.
So whose opinion is that?
He was quoting from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I am quoting from the book, The Emancipation History of the West Indies.
No, I understand that.
Yeah,
but
who's the writer? And whose words
they were quoting? Because I was obviously quoting another source or thinking of somebody else.
Well, this book is Isaac Dukan. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm saying, no, And why I refer to this is that the scripture have played a very important role legalizing the rights of slavery, right? Because those who were against slavery at the second count, the capture and sale of slaves in Africa, breed human jealousy and aveers and encourage intertribal war. The passage of slaves across the Atlantic to the West Indies was fatally insanitary. Slave ships were heavily congested and their cargo subjected to disease. On the estate, the treatment of slaves was harsh and brutal. The flogging of women in particular was objectable. The toll on human life was excessive, and loss of human dignity appealing. Not only were slaves humiliated and
Ras Kremlin, let me ask you a question, because remember we have other callers, so you can't read from the. In fact, we went past the break. You have time to stay with us?
Yeah, man.
All right. When we come back.
Yeah.
Is there something?
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Fast FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
People, are you listening? If you choose to remain at home after an evacuation order has been issued, you do so at your own risk. Get down, get down!
Heed the warning! For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-3825-8 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Reliable healthcare? We have it. Yes, we do. Great George Street Pharmacy. Shop number 8, 97 Great George Street, Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland. Opening hours, Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call us at 876-603-7372 or WhatsApp us at 876-205-0499. Yes, we have reliable healthcare for you at Great George Street Pharmacy, Savannah Lamar.
This is your beloved Pastor Percy from the Morning Connection. Support our commitment to Jamaica by joining us on Wednesday mornings at 7:30 when we pray for the nation. Show us you care. Advertise with us. For more information, call our offices at 876-276-8935.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, Ras Kremlin.
Yes, I'm not really trying to read the book.
Right, because we won't talk to you. We don't want to just listen to you or read the book. Tell me what's in what's in your thoughts now.
What I was trying to explain is that there were people who, was against slavery.
Yes.
And there were people
for slavery.
For slavery. So I was reading the quotation for slavery.
Mm-hmm.
That it for slavery. It was permissible by divine scripture.
No,
right?
so what I wanted to focus your thoughts on is that the opinion you're reading, which is what the writer has put in his book, probably quoting from somewhere else, scripture was used to reinforce and to convince people that slavery is okay, man. Your creator intended it. But by the same token, when the game shifted, other persons from the church were saying slavery is against the law of man, of God. Man create equal, and there was none should enslave another. So scripture has been used to do the two things and continues to be used in that same way today. You will hear when our Minister of Foreign Affairs lost her bid for the Commonwealth thing, she said God didn't intend for her to leave Jamaica just yet.
Right, and this is why, when I look at party politics in Jamaica.
Yes.
And I'm looking at 60 years of independence.
Yes.
And I'm saying, where does the people reach from the 60 years? Who benefit from the 60 years? Is it the country and the people, or is those who are leading these two parties?
Well, let me tell you, you could give an assessment, and perhaps any citizen would give an assessment. One thing we know, we don't feel that the country has prospered, and we don't feel that, and if the country don't prosper, then it's unlikely that the people would have prospered, because a prosperous country is the people who will show it. Yeah, so it's why I'm focusing our attention now on how do we bring about the right kind of change, because we don't want to fall into the lot of some people who fight for change and end up, what do they say, out of the frying pan into the fire. You end up in a worse position. And at the same time, yes.
But then we must respect man like Sam Sharp and Paul Bogle and Sister Nanny.
Yes, but we need to find them. We need to find their equivalent in today's society.
For the betterment of the people, of their people.
Yes, yeah. And who are prepared to lay down their life, by the way.
Right. And then now, when we talk about theocracy, we're talking about a righteous government.
Yep.
Governed by the Almighty. Some man may say Rasta has a problem with his majesty. Rasta is so confident in his majesty. You understand me? And when we say theocracy, we simply mean a righteous government.
Okay.
Right? And up to now, from the 60 years, which of these parties righteous? Which one of them are deal with righteousness?
Well, of course, you know that the parties know better than the people from which they spring. So we have to look for righteous neighbors, righteous men and women who we can elevate to that position where they are serving us from the halls of government. I have another call on the line, Doris. All right.
The people were totally misguided, premeditators by their misguiders.
Yes, but we gotta at some point stop.
To take responsibility.
Yeah, and teach yourself then. Teach yourself.
That is why this program is available.
Yeah, man. So that's what Sam Sharp did. Yeah, man. So
we're going to switch it now and see how much our people in Jamaica have learned through experience after 60 years.
Okay.
All
right. Thanks, my brother. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Neville.
Yeah, all the best to you and happy independence. Good morning to your listeners and your valuable callers.
Thank you, sir.
Are you close off on the Magic Cup winners yet?
No, well, as I said, we had identified for the male.
Malvern.
Yes, but let's use this week, since Independence is on Saturday. Let's declare it on Thursday.
Yes, and then they send the photo to my phone.
Yes.
And they'll get the Magic Cup in 2 weeks.
All right, good.
All right, then.
All right. You know where I am passing right now as I'm talking to you?
I hope it's not Ratbat City again.
No, I'm going into Ratbat City, man. That's my summer project, man. And it's working very, very well.
I was just showing you that I remember the name of the place. Where are you parking?
You know where I'm passing right now? A place near Mangostown.
Yes, no, but Mangostown.
Oh, I was going to say is Neville make up these names, but then pass.
No, you tell me now. When a baby born in the Jubilee Hospital, for example, now, and you take that baby and climb up on one place that you call Mangostown, and when you reach 3 years old and start talk, you may say him live on Mangostown. How you expect him to think?
Like a mangoes?
Hey, we have to be careful how we talk around and how we talk about people, you know.
Well, the first thing is that the mongoose were brought to Jamaica to kill the snakes in the cane field. So mongoose not, and they do eat chickens. Mongoose not chicken. I mean, properly understood. Is this name given to the town because of its survival instincts? Why is it called Mongoose Town? I never knew such a place.
When I do my investigation, yes. I tell you.
Right.
Pastor.
Yes, never.
When the Bible says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh and dwelt amongst man, what does that mean?
It's talking about the incarnation of Jesus Christ. Why?
So why they kill Jesus?
Because that was a part of the purpose for which he came.
So you said Jesus came to be killed by men?
Yeah, it was a part of it. They never understood what they were doing, because if you go deeper into it, in terms of what was there, in terms of salvation, it had to die. It was a part of the process. It became the sacrifice.
So tell me this now. You think some of us is part of the process to die for a change in the system like Paul Bogle and Nanny?
It could be so, Yeah.
It is
so. It could be so done.
Yeah, man, it is so. It will be so. It has always been so.
Well, listen this. I have come to the conclusion, as a 58-year-old man growing up in Kingston and St. Andrew and travel all over Jamaica, you see, that what I see in Mangostown and Ratbat City in South St. Andrew, that constituency which is a garrison of the PNP, and has been led by some well-known politician over the year. This section of the city has been abandoned.
Who is the MP now?
Pardon me?
Who is the MP now for those areas?
Brown Burke. But these communities down here, sir, has been abandoned by the system. It's as if the people down here and the communities don't exist.
And they gave themselves those names?
Hello?
And they gave themselves those names because those names, I'm sure, don't appear on the parish council roster.
Thank you. And look here. I want to, I tell them in my workshop that a lot of these lands down here, the landlords die, and these lands, them people not paying any property tax on these lands. And once you miss 3 years of property tax, central government can seize the land. And I tell them in my workshop to go home and tell the parents to form groups in their household, yard by yard, and the money that they're gambling and cash back, they need to pool it together, go down by the register of titles office, and get what they call the folio number of these property and go and pay the property tax to a lawyer. Because they don't know what a clock strike in Jamaica.
But are they titled owners of those property, or are those properties?
No, the landlords died, but they are living on these properties.
So it's part of someone's estate.
Huh?
So the land is part of someone's estate.
Yes, but the person died. And nobody paying any property tax. Some people live down here for years. Once you live on the land for how many years?
So you're talking about adverse possession if they have lived for 12, if they've had 12 or more years of undisturbed possession.
Well, that is the case down here. And they are very ignorant to it. And let me tell you this, the more climate change is real.
But can I tell you something? Let me say something to you now that is quite brutal. Ownership of land in today's Jamaica is a more of a liability than an asset. There are areas of Jamaica where the property tax assessment and valuation is so high that unless you put that land into some kind of development activity, it costs you more to simply own it than you make from it. And
that's true.
Right. And so when we are talking about putting persons either in possession of land, the first thing is that the property tax regime right now is, to me, is an atrocity. It is meant to penalize people for daring to own land.
Oh, well, you know climate change is real, right?
Of course it is. It is.
All right. Their expert is telling them in the cabinet 2 weeks ago that if you should have a major rise of the sea, places like Raytown, places in Harborview and Portmore, people will have to evacuate.
Yes.
And you know where they would have to come? In places like Maxfield, Walton, where those lands are now owned by the government, because the government, the MPs, who is the MP for these areas, they should be notifying these people that they can now become owners of the land, before climate change takes it, because the government going to run them off the land.
So here's what will happen, because there was a community out near to the airport, Harborview, Caribbean something, Caribbean Estate. There we had. And it was a hurricane, during hurricane. That community was virtually decimated. I don't think anything really of value survived by what we are calling it climate change now, but water came in and sucked away the wall, tear down the house. I mean, I remember meeting someone who lived there. The development had been completed very close to the shore, totally destroyed. And no compensation to this date, I think, except for persons who would have had property insurance. No relocation. No, we currently are not set up to deal properly with a kind of cataclysmic destruction to land that displace people. And you should be thinking about land grants and relocation funds and so on and so forth. We don't have that in place. If you tell a bunch of people now, let's say, for example, the people in Ratbat City or Mongoose Town take you seriously and go and put together and pay property tax and are paying property tax and are positioned for ownership of that land, and any of the climate change adverse events take place and suck away everything they own and the land is uninhabitable, you're going to have another kind of problem on your hands, because right now they live there without it being an expense to them in that way. The minute they start to pay taxes, it creates expectation. It is why the Americans revolted. Taxation without representation is no joke.
Thank you. And they had a revolution done.
They had a revolution.
We only had a rebellion. And you know who led that rebellion? The Baptist Church. And let me leave you with this. Right now, there's tension in the Taiwan Strait.
Yeah.
Between America and China, right?
Yes.
Taiwan,
And did you know that the Pope who is the Catholic representative of Jesus Christ, he's sick to travel now and he wants to go to Russia to talk to the Russian Orthodox Church.
Yes.
You know why? The Russian Orthodox Church has given its blessings in the name of God to what is going on in Ukraine. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Then did you tell me now, Pastor, really, Pastor, when the church in Russia said that they're giving their blessings to what Vladimir Putin is doing, isn't that a blasphemy of that?
All right, sir. We'll leave it on that note.
Leave it at that note. What do I think? We're going to go into another
Pastor have no place in that debate. What do you say?
Thank you very much for the conversation.
All right.
Thanks, Neville.
But,
Is there another call on the line now? Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. You want to comment on the...
Yeah, man. When the person finish, yeah.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Welcome.
Oh, Pastor, go ahead.
There's a lot of things that have been done in the name of God in this world, and him look and say, poor me.
I think there's someone on the line.
Yes.
Welcome. Good morning.
Oh, good time.
Yes, you're on.
I think there's someone. Am I time?
Yes, it's your time.
Your time, sir. Speak up. Yeah.
Give thanks to night protection, give thanks to the morning pride, give thanks to the August 1 celebration going through, you know. What we don't know to ask to most of the people who putting out for reparation, who have to know also if they can bring also reparation to the last and sinful soul of the people before them get the money.
Say that again, please.
You have to say that again.
I missed some of what you were saying.
I would love to know if they can also bring reparation to the last and sinful soul of the people who they are on money for, because that is what is needed before even money.
Oh, you are saying there needs to be a spiritual change before you get the physical manifestation. That's what you're saying, brother.
My Lord, yes.
Okay.
Can't disagree with that.
That's a given.
That's a given. But how to achieve it is really.
Let me read something. Let me read something to you. It's short. It's not long. Memories on the subject of morality is the title. Memories of past injustices should not divert us from the more pressing issues at hand. We must live in peace with our former colonizers, shunning recrimination and bitterness, and forswearing the luxury of vengeance and retaliation, lest the acid of hatred erode our souls and poison our hearts. Let us act as befits the dignity which one claims for ourselves as Africans, Ethiopians, proud of our own special qualities, distinctions, and abilities. We must speak out and make the issue courageously, openly, and honestly, and in blunt terms of right and wrong. If we yield to blandishment meaning, carry coaxing words,
flattery.
If we yield to blandishments or threats, if we compromise when no honorable compromise is possible, our influence will be sadly diminished and our prestige woefully prejudiced and weakened.
Sounds like your emperor.
Sounds like.
We believe in cooperation and collaboration to promote the cause of international security, the equality of man, and the welfare of mankind. We believe in peaceful settlements of all disputes without regard to force. And in accordance with the charter of the OAU, we will strive to eradicate colonialism, racism, and apartheid from the face of Africa, to frustrate efforts being made by foreign powers to tear the destiny of the African continent, and we will continue to stand. Words of the Emperor of Ethiopia, Emperor Haile Selassie. What do you think of those words?
That's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
No, I don't. I heard nothing offensive, or anything that I would disagree with, which I would disagree. One of the things that I'm mindful of, when you assume your rightful position, there is a reckoning to be done that is, I think, inevitable, and we mustn't shy away from it. Persons who are unrepentant have to be dealt with appropriately.
Stick up in Empress.
Yes.
So now, that means now, is a serious affair going in our
yes.
True is that now, if people understand, they don't know the nature of God, because God also having death angel.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, that's why I said those. That's why I highlight that. I was listening and I didn't really hear. I didn't hear enough to. I'm not saying it's not there because it was a longish passage you read, but I know that early o'clock, if you're unrepentant, you gotta meet and deal with the judgment. It is only those who are repentant that are gonna get the forgiveness and the reconciliation and the renewed relationship.
Yeah, them go and get it now. You see, a time I come in Jamaica, where just like in the Bible, them say people put them blood on the doorpost.
Yes.
Yeah, when the angel of pass, him can know who live where.
Yep.
Well, in at this time, the people them put them the Ethiopian tree upon the doorpost, upon the door, rise Marcus banner upon it, because you see, it seems in the Empress, because of the fact that we want to hold on from this Jamaicanism, and you see the Jamaica Ethiopian, he refused to hold on from himself, and that is the problem, because we as Ethiopians, we have a constitution, as we tell you, we have all these things set up for us, And even when we were talking about the woman and the stone, we would really resort to that now in this time, because we don't feel like if a man marry a woman, if that the party are married now work, she can run with the lightning bag, boy. We are with a man who can't satisfy you. You understand? Or a woman the next year. If there's not sexual compatibility, not care how you're righteous or how you're good, it ain't gonna work.
Okay.
Well, then, the whole female race, thank you for not stoning us in this modern day and age. But I take your point. One of the things I have to say, though, we're past the point. It's a new dispensation. We don't have to put anything on our doorpost. It is in the heart. And the death angel has the key. He knows what's in the heart, as you put it. So we don't need to, you were saying, put the creed on the door. I guess so metaphorically speaking.
You can pass over your house when
I understand what you're saying, but now it is in the heart.
It's written in the heart.
And now you will know what is in the heart by how man behave towards one another. And I can tell if you are repentant, because if you are repentant of your misdeeds, it will show up in your conduct.
Your behavior and thing. Repent.
Yeah.
All right,
my brother. Thank you very much.
Big thanks, Lord.
Yes. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Miss Minute.
Hi, Cruz. How you do? How was the Emancipation Day? Can you reach independence here?
If it was a Emancipation Day, whatever you call it, I would celebrate it.
But the Emancipation business.
The man business. All right.
Man business, me straight like arrow. One of the only man left alive.
All right.
Real man.
Okay, sir.
Anyway, when we talk about now.
Yeah.
We never plan to call this morning, but from me hear about the Pope ratified the Putin war.
Oh, I see, yes. That Putin has the blessing of the Pope. Not the Pope,
no,
of the church, the
Russian Orthodox Church,
in Russia.
Putin have the blessing of me too. You know that?
Yes, we know that for a long time.
I hope Mr. Putin knows that.
Well, I don't really care now. If there was an election, I would not vote for him. But he have my blessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
I remember when the United States Army was going down to Iraq. Some little cap men in the state, Rabbi and all those guys, they prayed. They were on national TV praying for the soldier to go down there and kill people and come back safe. I remember that.
But I don't think anyone is, certainly.
And Afghanistan was the same thing. I saw guys on TV, on CNN, praying for American soldier to go down here and kill and come back.
So are you thinking that there is some opposition to the church in Russia blessing the actions of the leader of Russia? Because who could be upset about that?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just reminding people that thing been going on all the time. War fought in the name of God.
Well,
from the beginning.
Yes.
So we know that.
We started with Ras Kremlin pointing out that scripture was used to support slavery. Yes. So
slavery.
So
yes, I heard him.
Right. So we know that man consistently goes to the highest level of authority to authenticate his behavior, or to give his behavior legitimacy and credibility. And when he want to change, he can go back to the same source and say, "Well, I have fresh revelation. It is against."
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I can understand is sport. everybody's making a cross now.
Oh yes,
Did you
I
know that?
noticed. I've seen them. So if some of them don't
Everyone-
do it right, but both
You
was
know
doing it. I didn't know
Who
both was
used to do that?
Catholic.
It was the Catholic people that used to do that first, and then Jamaican copying it and everything. And when they win, they say God made them win. So if 10 persons in the race, one person win, God let that one person win. So God is biased then. Is God biased?
How you reach to that? Because I listened to it, and I must confess that I've worked as a chaplain at the Olympic Games and traveled with teams. And we do it. Don't say that God going to make you win or whatever, because that is something having operated internationally. Most people don't know that in the Olympic Games, they have what they call a center, religious center. So if you're a Hindu, a Christian, a Muslim, that's a part of the Olympic creed. And as you said, no, I don't subscribe to that.
Yeah, but the fact that the athlete says, "I thank God for my victory," that doesn't mean you can ascribe it to God.
No, it's I thank God he helped me. And Shellyan is very in terms of her faith, because she understands that. She said, me have to come back, me lose, and so on. So she don't say, giving me the extra thing, because that helps you in terms of what you're doing. Whether you win or lose, I don't go to that far that you win or lose. I just say that is a part of their own existence.
But please remember, though, if the question is, does God favor winners? Of course he does. We move in victory. He guarantees us victory. So yes, winning
as a Christian, I move in victory.
Yes, winning is very much within the plan of God. Whether it is in your athletic exploits or your career or your spiritual life, yes, God like winners. What about you?
Yeah, but sometimes I believe losing.
It's a part of the process, though. It's a part of the process.
It's just a move towards winning your next battle.
Is a reason.
Yes,
Of
man.
course.
We agree. So we are not at opposite poles in terms of what you're saying.
We're not calling it bias.
I believe in destiny, you know. I believe in destiny.
Who creates destiny?
You should, because destiny is purpose.
Because I was supposed to go to England in the 90s, and I didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I planned to go in the 2000s, but then they wanted visa. So I changed my mind and went to Grand Cayman.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If I had gone to England, for sure, I would have gone over to Asia to join Al-Qaeda.
Okay.
I'm positive about that.
All right.
So would that have been your destiny? I don't know. I want to link it to destiny. So why you say you believe in destiny, but you are citing as an example your failure to follow a course that you had in mind, and you're sure it would have led you in a particular direction. Was that your destiny?
Right.
So which one is your destiny? What you're doing now? Or the road is gonna draw you back to the Middle East?
I don't know. Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
All right.
We'll ponder that next time.
That's interesting.
There's one more thing I want to talk about.
Yes.
Islam.
Yes.
Islam is the only religion I see around now that hardly changed much from biblical days.
Yeah.
Some changes went on, but Christian changed about 80%.
Really?
Yeah, they changed a lot of laws and
All
stuff
right,
like that.
because we're at 9:03. If you can call back, I would love for us to discuss whether standing still versus growing or changing is the better course. Because, God is a God of movement and growth. We'll come back.
Yeah, but... All right.
You're going to stay. What are you going to do?
No, let me call back.
Thank you, my brother.
A difference you can hear. A difference you can feel.
Fast FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. Hurricanes can happen, so be prepared.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754 43659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
Stand Up Rising invites you to support their 5th annual blood drive and back-to-school treat at the Lionel Town Hospital on Friday, August 19th. The blood drive starts at 9 a.m. and you can join us at midday for the back-to-school treat. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, invite as many donors as you can, and you will be eligible to earn cash prizes starting at $10,000 for third place, $20,000 for second place, and first place prize of $50,000. And there's more! Free medicals for all students returning to school this September. Don't miss this opportunity to give blood and save lives.
Veteran Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Haggard Park Road. Veteran Printers, your best choice in printing.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, away I do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, senior.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling her, cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town.
And the best taxi service.
They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
Need a cab from anywhere at all. You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning and welcome to The Morning Connection.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, how are you guys doing?
We are well. How are you?
Yeah, I want to ask you both a question, this morning,
Go ahead.
Anyone of you can answer. 3 questions. We'll ask them in order and then you can respond accordingly. First question, are we independent? 2nd, did we get political independence 1962? And the last question, will you both be celebrating independence August 6th? Yeah.
My answer, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it, we have been an independent country since 1962. Whether it in terms of the reality of the situation and independence in terms of our economic future or judicial systems, I'm not so sure about that. But you asked me, so me answer the question. So what?
All right. Based on what I know.
And me know too.
Yeah.
So you're going to give your answer to those questions?
Yes. Tell us your answers.
Yes. Yeah, based on what I know, we are not yet independent. And based on what I know, we did not get political independence in 1962. Because if we did political independence, the opposition leader official title would not be Queen Elizabeth Loyal Opposition. Likewise, Andrew Holness would never be Queen Elizabeth Prime Minister. Likewise, the Parliament would not be Queen Elizabeth's Parliament. You understand what I'm getting to?
All right, so I'm gonna ask you a few questions myself. On whom are we dependent?
On whom are we dependent?
Yes, if we are not independent, on whom are we dependent?
Yes, I'm going to tell you on whom are we dependent.
Yes, yeah, man, I want you to tell me who.
We depend on Queen Elizabeth first, IMF, World Bank, IDB, CDB, WHO, America. These are the people who control Jamaica's economy. The Prime Minister and the Opposition are merely puppets that play along with what these people say.
Okay. So if based on what you're saying, then, almost all countries in the world would be...
There is no independent country.
Yeah.
And it's why I asked you, because...
No, but it is true. But come again, friend. We follow logically what you have put on the table, You're talking about economic independence. Is that what you're speaking about, true?
Yeah, but the other countries they have more, I would say, they can dictate more how their countries are run, but IMF come here and tell us.
All right, so the reason I asked you, the reason I asked you, my brother, is because everyone has their own definition and understanding of independence or dependence, whether it is of a political sort or an economic sort. For my own part, I would tell you that I am dependent only on God. That's what I would tell you. I take my authority, I take my freedoms, I understand my freedoms, who I am, my identity, and so on. I go back to the source because I have found it more liberating to approach it that way. Liberating in the sense that it allows me to freely form my opinions and determine my movements, whether I am resisting, supporting, or just chilling in a moment. So I look at it from that perspective because personally, I found it very oppressive to be constantly kind of marking time within the construct of what exists. When you define, the answer you gave me was more, it revealed more to me your concept of independence versus dependence. And as Pastor said, it drew the inevitable comment or conclusion that no one is truly independent, if that is what you're looking at. Some would say then that given the amount of money that America owes China, that China run America, or America is dependent on China. So there is a way for us to look at it and move ourselves to a better position, rather than to get caught up in some of the absolutes that you're still working through.
Yeah.
I see you're still working through some of those.
Yeah, so will both of you guys come August 6th? Will both of you be celebrating Jamaica Independence Day?
Where? There's a celebration? What are you going to be doing?
I did not celebrate any emancipation yesterday, and I will not be celebrating independence because I have been doing it for years because we are not yet independent.
So it's passive resistance then, because I know you didn't demonstrate or get up and do anything to show that you are not celebrating. How would your neighbor or anyone connected to you come around to your way of thinking by observing your treatment of Emancipation Day? Did you do anything, or how did you mark your protest?
We were at a retreat yesterday, a meeting, planning, mobilizing ourselves to replace this current system of PNP and JLP who are liars.
And I hope it went very well.
Okay.
Because to me now, your freedom to do that your ability to do it specifically on the day when others might be celebrating emancipation from freedom. You're choosing to spend your time planning to achieve the greater freedom is very admirable. I commend you for it, and I really do hope that what you're working on is met with the greatest of success.
All right?
Yes.
All right, my brother. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Blessed morning, Albert.
Yes.
Two things. On the subject of the climate change.
Yes.
You know, say I go up my bridge in a coffee farm in a Blue Mountain, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, say I was up there and he was showing me the farm one time when I came back to Jamaica, and he was showing me the farm. You know that I saw seashells embedded in rocks in Blue Mountain.
But yes.
Why? You know why that is so?
Because all islands come out of the sea.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
volcanic.
And what goes around generally can
just a matter of time.
Yeah, so why may I appeal to my people? And because of the fact that the polar ice cap them are melt, Jamaica go. Why may I appeal to my people? You know, Jamaica, the Jamaica go back underwater and just the seashore. You know, eventually it go back underwater. You understand? So then when we are trying to appeal to our people, say, and even then now, on the stage of morality, that sometimes when we step up on the platform of morality, suppose the Arawak man, because I see them, go up on East Street and see the embassy, then they are still, because I see the embassy and we go up there. What if he say no to you, say no, but I like get back my land for my because most of them, some of them they run go to Mexico and some of them they go back to Spain, but them still alive and well, the Inuit, because them the long term are the First Nation people. What would you say? Should they, the intellect among them, come to you and put a petition? They would have looked back the Western Hemisphere for them people and them women and children. How would you answer?
I would say take it.
It's your own. But do you have the force to take it back?
It always comes down to that, you know. You can ask for anything. Do you have the force, the authority, the capability to
of course, them have the force. The Almighty Empress, the way to world peace is in the Bible, Isaiah 43.
Yeah, that's why I said you would say take it.
When everyone return to their country of ethnic origin, world peace will come automatic. You understand?
Okay. So that is why the response will be take it.
They were just about to go to the restaurant. I was on a ceiling restaurant. I drink one cup of chocolate. And them there mopping the floor. My Lord. They were Italians, right? And every time one of them stopped, and then look at here and then start converse again. So me look at to see which one of them now was the leader amongst them. And me call her over, and she came over. Both of them was about 80-something years old. And I said to her, say, any question you want to ask me, ask me. She said, for real? She said, all right. If you had the mic and the world was, how would you bring the world? I'm going to say to her, I say, when every man get back his land that was stolen, world peace will come. And she looked at me good and said, that is true. That is true. All right. The subject of China now, moving on. You see China, Empress? You see, nobody wants to study history. But one at a time, one of the Chinese president had said, the only reason why they don't match up the West yet is because they saw some black people going to the West innocently. So I'm saying, any deer, name deer, then pass back up the line, him go mash up the West. The West must perish in Empress. Kane, the Chinese man, a Kane generation, them, and I said Kane, them go mash up the West, but two of them say some black people is go down there innocently, wait for them, pass back. And you see this Taiwan situation, with them needle this man here. It go happen, because him and Russia going to come together, but I just choose them know that some people don't have innocently against them will. Why them not match up yet? But Marcus Garvey said, and I leave with this. There are 80 million Ethiopians go good on with Babylon, too belly full and licky. Bless them.
Yes, because some will die in the country of captivity. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, Miss Lynette.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Pastor. I'm saying that I have to give thanks for this program. Very, very much. From the crown of my head to the sole of my foot, I give thanks for it. Because, it's just like, it's not like when time this part in the Bible saying that about the sow and the seed. The seed fell upon good ground and some not fell upon good ground.
Yes.
All of them were there fall upon good ground for me.
All right, sir.
Yes, it's a fall upon good ground for me. Because, all right, I was the one who I tried to call you from about 3 weeks ago, but I couldn't get through.
Wow.
Yes, just to report Mr. DPS.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. DPS, that's how I have to honor him, Mr. DPS. Okay. I remember earlier on, I tell you that they sent me a bill,
Yes.
Yes. Actually, 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that was like what? In June.
Yes.
Okay, maybe, that they sent me, it was like for 9,700 and some dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And then they sent me this enormous bill. In July, they sent me back a bill that cost 13,000. I'm saying, they owe me from June.
Mm-hmm.
All right? The last bill that they sent to pay this month and the third, it comes to 5,000.
Wow.
So you see, they're worse than the US dollar, That fluctuates.
Yes, but I remember raising your concern with one of the JPS representatives.
Yes, and I was listening at that time too.
Yes, so it sounds as if it is evening out, though. Even though it yo-yo, but now you're at 5, which sounds like the credit. Maybe a credit was applied?
Something they do there. I don't really know, but they have seen it because the kilowatt hours moved from 434 to 91.
Yes.
Okay.
And I didn't have or take away any appliances.
Okay.
Yeah, because I will, and as the JPS person that read the meter left, I run there and I take a picture also.
And took it, right.
Okay.
Well, what is excellent, what you're doing is the right thing. You're tracking it, you're recording it, you're following up on it. JPS is continuing to do a program with us. I've made a note. It sounds as if you're moving into safer grounds, but you're still concerned by the fluctuations that don't seem to be attached to any logic. So, all right, so the patient is on a wait and see. We're still observing.
Though
it's moving in the right direction.
Move out of ICU back to the general ward. And you soon come out of the hospital. What do you say?
Oh, Pastor, I don't want to come out of the hospital complete.
Yeah, right.
You will be out of the hospital
complete. All right.
Yeah. Completely, sir. Complete.
All right, then.
Yes, sir. And I give God thanks and praises for people like you. Keep up the good work that your people are doing. And may the good God of heaven bless you and keep you.
All right.
Thank you very much,
Thank
sir.
you very much for the blessing. When a older person bless me,
day, sir.
I receive it with my 2 hands wide open.
All right. It will come shaking and run over.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hi, morning.
Good morning,
Good
Corey.
morning. Corey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing?
Wonderful. US in recession, but the administration not saying so.
But the governor of the Fed came out and gave the numbers.
Mm-hmm. You know.
It's just that the numbers are strong now, but they are on the risk right now according to stagflation because the inflation rate is still very high, and they are still trying to slow down the economy faster, but it's taking a longer time to slow down.
Wow.
You know, I kind of love it how you, I'm going to say auditor types, because the focus is on the auditor part of it, because you're coming in after the event. You're observing what is happening or has already happened and making the economy is doing what it's doing, as Pastor said. It is already in, what did you say?
Recession.
It's in recession, but they're not calling it. But it's happening. The question is, what impact can you have on it even at this stage? What's the impact that even your own commentary can have on it? Markets that depend on confidence, meaning you can build up confidence by speaking good words and projecting plans and, trying to affect.
That's what the administration is trying to do now. Job on its way into confidence, but the markets are not necessarily responding in that way. They're expecting and anticipating a recession.
Yeah, but you can still have impact by convincing decision makers to leave a conservative position and take a risk in sufficient numbers to control the outcome. Let's put it that way. And that's what planning is about, and that's what good governance ought to give you, where when you see the thing trending in a direction based on uncoordinated mass experience, you can, at the higher level, insert some careful measures.
That's what people were saying to them before.
That can turn it.
People were saying before this happened, they said, if you do that, this is going to happen. There's some laws.
Yeah, of course. We talk about that all the time.
And people were saying, no, talk foolishness. I said, but watch what you're doing, because you printing money, and money that's not backed by what you needed, production and productivity. It's not going to help you. So but from your point of view, would you say that our government, the BOJ and thing, is doing what the US is doing, like copycat?
It's a mirror.
It's a mirror, okay.
Because even right now, the BOJ is trying to talk up the market. The BOJ has gone to Parliament and said they don't see no recession in the near future for Jamaica. The BOJ is trying to boost investor confidence and support. So they're actually job owning the market.
Okay. Wow.
But also, I am very invested in this Nancy Pelosi visit to Taiwan.
How so? Why are you invested?
In World War III, I go start? Between China and
I mean, I don't think China will actually try to blow up the plane. They can't afford that. That's a very expensive risk that they would take. I don't think that will happen.
Okay.
What I expect to see is that if she lands there today, that China will back off somewhat.
Okay.
Because they have been jawboning and saying that they are going to do this and do that, and if they don't do it, then people can call them bluffs.
Okay.
So that's what I'm expecting to see from this visit. I really don't think that China is going to pull the trigger.
Okay. We hope not.
Yeah, because that would be a catastrophe for the world.
I'm not expecting that either. All right, Corey, thank you for sharing your observations. We have another caller on the line. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Blessed love again.
Blessed love, Kremlin.
Marks them some questions. I'm want them try to explain the answer. The own feelings in concerning certain things that happen in Jamaica over 60 years.
Wow.
All right, hear me now. First question. What is independent? All right, now really the first question is what is emancipation? Why this word emancipation have to come in? What ways that create that people should be emancipated? The next question, what is independent? Is independent the betterment for its people, or is independent the betterment for two parties?
So what question? So that's all of that was one question, Ras?
Yeah, one question.
What is independence?
What is emancipation?
What is emancipation? And is independence for the betterment of the people or for the two parties?
Wait, listen to me.
Yes.
Why we have to be emancipated? Why this word coming emancipated?
Yeah. Well, emancipation is freedom from release from bondage, from slavery.
From bondage and cruelty and wickedness.
Yeah.
When you get independent now, is it for the people or the two parties?
Well, independence is self-government. But remember, we're in a program in our Rasta, we have to be mindful of time. And see, we're just about at the break.
Tomorrow, you can discuss.
Sure. Okay. Leave the other question with me then.
The other question is that does the people benefit from independence which belong to the people of Jamaica? Independent. That word belongs to the people.
All right.
It don't belong to two damn parties.
Okay.
It belongs to the people.
All right, sir.
Explain them things, them sister.
All right, my brother. All right. We'll take the break now. 9:30 a.m. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
A difference you can hear, a difference you can feel.
Fast FM 100 on your dial. Keep listening.
One in. A hurricane we name. How we rough. Whether we are man hurricane or woman hurricane. We want you to know that. We come up and mash up building, blow down things and just like blow out this. We no ram. We no respect no one. So not take no chance with we. Listen to Hot Prem and prepare. Hurricanes don't happen. So be prepared. Yes, be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Do you need reliable health care? We have it. Yes, we do. Great George Street Pharmacy. Shop number 8, 97 Great George Street, Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland. Opening hours, Mondays to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call us at 876-603-7372 or WhatsApp us at 876-205-0499. Yes, we have reliable health care for you at Great George Street Pharmacy, Savannah Lamar.
Half a tree, one and drive, half a tree. Bossy, how you do I take taxi start?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and me check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time I shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me send you.
You big star. Yeah, man. Respect my boss.
Yeah, try calling, cause trust me.
Waiters, Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
What a relief.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
Say, let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Donna, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith. God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com for bookings. Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning. Welcome back, caller. How are you?
Greetings. Good morning. I'm fine, and good morning to the listeners.
Yes, good morning,
And
sir.
happy belated anniversary for Best FM. I tried to call on that day, but
Thank you. To the TMC.
Yeah, happy belated birthday to you. Minute we share the July, you know.
Wonderful, man.
Let me go straight into it. Yesterday I happened to attend a little emancipation lecture, and you know, at church in Meadowbrook.
Which one of them?
Dr. Rosalie Hamilton was the
speaker.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, some of the things that she pointed out. I mean, unless you're not born in Jamaica or you're just born with there, you don't know these things to be true.
Yes.
You understand? So we know a lot of things, but the change now come as how it should come. And I think, you know, the responsibility is on us, all of us as Jamaicans.
True.
And I hear Minute alluded to that this morning, and I could agree with her more.
That's true.
You know, but, you know, Pastor, may I put it on the spot now? I think this, before me even say what I said, this show, I think is a great game changer in terms of opening up the eyes of many Jamaicans and articulating the views and, you know, giving a voice to those who, you know, really hurting and want to see the change. And we see a lot of changes happening all over the world, and I think it is imminent in Jamaica that the change will come.
Yes.
And the people eyes, you know, it will open up slowly but surely. And Pastor, as it relates to the church, I think the church has a big role to play.
I agree with you.
I think before the church can even play that role, I think the church, in some respect, need to apologize for, you know, not just like what the Pope was
Canada
where they apologize. But I think there should be more than just apology. But I think the church in Jamaica, whether Pentecostal, Moravian, you name it, the body of church. If you can go back in history and see there are some things that they were culpable and they did wrong, and they in fact, to just be blunt, they were a part of the enslavement of the Africans. You understand? In terms of being used. And today, when I observe how these two political parties, JLP and PMP in particular, you know, they have been, you know, the greatest disgrace to the nation. And I'm not talking about the people who voted for JLP and PMP. I'm talking about the leadership. I'm putting that at the head. You understand? But, and, you know, we are such a great nation. You know, the athletes, the musicians, etc., etc. You know, and we can do better, but I think the church has failed so miserably. And if the church don't take a stand, especially with these two parties, I think we're going to in it for a longer time because, you know, the church role is so critical.
And I agree with you now. And let me tell you why. Because if you have what I call proper discipleship in terms of those who align themselves to church, things begin to change because, one, people are educated and understand that this gospel of the kingdom, which Jesus came preaching, was a gospel that sought to empower and to give true liberty to persons. You understand me I say to you? And, and if people begin to do it, because now people are asking, Ras Kremlin, where are the Paul Bogers, where are the Sam Sharps, where are the people that in the initial phase, it's like people don't know that like VMBS, as some churchmen come together, you know, they saw a model in England, and they say, how can we increase home ownership for local people by helping them to pool resources? We have backed away from that. We have backed away from the public sphere and said, make them go and do it. But if people do not understand that rights that God gives to them is something that a man cannot take from them, we teach our people that way, we're going to continue to be in slavery.
But I felt as if you were coming close to saying, as you call on the church to apologize, I felt as if you were coming close to saying that the churches should refrain from, speak against the political leaders using the church as a crutch and a support and to endorse and to lend dignity or credibility to certain things that they're doing.
Minette.
Yes.
You know, I think before you come on this program, you pray a lot, you know, because I often hear you respond to the callers them, and it's like you kind of have a sense where most of us are coming from, and you hit the nail on the head with what you said a while ago, and that is exactly what I'm trying to find out. And I think I can't just be blunt this morning because
that's why I drew you out.
Yeah, man. You see, I have to forgive myself.
Yes.
For voting back in the past because I didn't know. You understand?
Yeah.
Now that I know certain things, especially with these, you know, of Jamaican politics, the practice of Jamaican politics, if I dip my finger in an ink again and vote for either of these two gangs, I think I am a big part of the problem. And I will go further to say any church member know what is happening in Jamaica. Not even church member. Any Jamaican know what is happening in Jamaica. And I could go on and on. I could talk about the FLA, different corruption.
Right. I feel it.
And you know, if we take our vote and vote for any of these two parties, you understand, in the future, I think, you know, we have a God to answer to.
Yes. So okay, man. You've been listening to us this morning too. We're saying the same thing. You've got to take responsibility for where we are. And once you take responsibility, you must do something. Nothing is going to change unless you do something. Nothing.
And the question that my caller is, what do you do? Because I think earlier out in the program you spoke about corruption. And I said, corruption happens because, guess what happened? The chief financial officer in every ministry is the permanent secretary. If you talk to most of the permanent secretary, them allow it to happen. So now I have to take responsibility and say, no, man, we have to stop it. Even at...
So you're really emphasizing here, Pastor, that everybody have something they can do.
That we must take responsibility.
Well, this morning, the caller is saying to the church, stop support them. When they call on you to come join them with this or invite themselves to celebrate that in your church or to do that, stop entertain it because you know so their heart not right.
Yeah, and they're being very Machiavellian in terms of how they use
Yes, they just want to look good.
Yeah.
I appreciate your call this morning, my brother. Thank you so much. Was there another point?
Well, I just want to encourage you guys and thanks to your producer for this show. And I mean, it's 1 year now. I think if you guys were on the, you know, we don't do this for a long time like some other media outlets.
Yeah.
I think the change probably would have come even quicker. But, you know, I believe in hope.
Yes.
And I think that we have a responsibility, and including myself, and, you know, and just continue the journey, you know. Big up Jerry. Rasta.
Yes, all right, my brother.
Change
Take
your
care.
come, brother. Take heart.
We have another caller on the line. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Greetings, Queen. Greetings, King. How is everything to all my listeners?
Very well, sir. Greetings to you too. Good morning.
All right. I hear when you're talking a lot of things. And Pastor?
Yes, sir.
You're the first one when I hear you say something this morning when I read.
Okay, what me say now?
That is what they taught you, and that's what you believe.
So I'm not blaming you.
All right, here what I have to say, you know. The man they call Jesus, which is Yeshua, the I am that I am. He didn't send on her to die. God did not send child to get die. Nothing goes like that. People envy him, bad-minded, and murder him. About 30 bits of silver, they tell him also. If them didn't give, tell him the 30 bits of silver, he wouldn't die. So God never sent his son to die to nobody's sin. God sent his son to teach the nation, to unite the nation back to him. But the people are so stubborn, defeated, which are the Israelites. So God never sent his son to die.
Let me ask
God never sent nobody here to die for nobody's sin.
Let me ask you one question. You asked me a question. Can I respond to you?
He didn't ask you a question. He commented that what you said was wrong. And he gave his interpretation.
Okay.
But you gave yours already. So what you want to do?
But I'm just saying if that was not a part of the purpose and the sovereign thing, because if you never died, then you could never have the power. The sovereign power that you thought, the resurrection power.
Yeah, but my brother is saying my brother is saying that death became inevitable because man was too wicked and wouldn't take the teaching. And the only way the teaching could be effectively given was when he died through the bad-minded wickedness of men.
Thank you very much.
That was a part.
No, you see, Queen overstand exactly what I want. That's what we have to ask about. Because remember, if God is having fun and saying son to die, to save the world, something not right about that. You understand? Why you got him a child, you don't kind of thing, but you can murder him. I will resurrect him and make you be a thief. No! It's just like you doing, you're going to hear money and say, no, it's wrong. It's wrong, don't do it without pushing. And the person ignore you and not do it. So people have to understand. When the man came on earth, he was teaching his people that the Latin way of living. Easy way of living. But you never come from foreign. Remember, you never come from the foreign.
They never have seen him.
Come from foreign. They murder him and two forever.
Lord of mercy.
Because why am I saying I come from foreign? He never come from foreign.
Listen, man.
Never foreign people want that have no foreign God among you. Secondly, I want to attach Jamaica.
Yes.
First of all, yesterday was Emancipation Day.
Mm-hmm.
What should emancipate to the effect from? Because number one, Jamaica has the lowest salary in the entire world. We call that slavery. Jamaica is governed by England. We call that still slavery. Jamaican is crown land, belong to England, is still slavery. Go back, Jamaica money can't pass the airport. England money is bigger than Jamaica money in one country. That is slavery.
But you know,
when they say they're independent, how can they independent when they have to have a visa to go to Ireland and got to England to the independent state? England printing their money, the young way up to this year.
Can I say something to you on that point?
Sure, darling.
Right, because if we did not mark the spot and every year we look back at it and acknowledge it, even the very conversation that you're having now, looking at it critically to say, have we gained enough? What are the gains? What work remains to be done? Maybe we wouldn't be as focused on it. So the necessity of acknowledging the day and revisiting the issue is urgent and critical, because I don't think many persons would even revisit that part of history if we didn't have the day to. Yes, because I mean, myself, I had to go back and look, okay, abolition of slavery, which was a legal event, 1834. Then there was the apprenticeship. But my point is, we wouldn't even be discussing it as we are if we didn't mark a date when we come back and look at it and acknowledge that, you know what, we still have work to do. And I agree with you that we still have work to do.
Fooling Jamaican people every time.
But you're not fooled. Many of us are not fooled.
They dominate Jamaica. Anything them can do.
Many of us are not fooled. You heard a young man call earlier saying, emancipate from what? Independent of what? Yes, because the question, in fact, it seemed to me, the bigger the float and the more money we spend to say it is so, the more people say, really? I'm not feeling it. And then...
Jamaican people don't be anything we're foolish. Anything we're stupid and foolish, they go for it. But anything we're truth and righteous, they hate it. They don't love the truth. And that is the problem that I have with my own people. They do, you hear me say? They murder the king because they never come from foreign. A foreigner, they want... You see, most of the rest of them that play that say that they are God. Selassie say, no God. They say, yes, no, listen to the musician, they know them address Selassie. Oh, Selassie is the king of praise, and Selassie is the almighty and all the foolishness there. So you have to understand what they think because they are foreign come from foreign. They don't want them one.
All right, sir. Okay.
My gosh, man, come on.
All right, my
brother. Let me pull up on the polygon, man. Start dealing with no one, accept no one for who they are, and help them motivate to reach better in Jamaica. Because Jamaica country is the whole country on this earth.
It's a work. It is a work in. It is a work in progress, and I thank you for your contribution this morning. We're gonna take our leave now, so you have a wonderful day. That was the last call. All right. Let me just. All right, my brother. Have a great day. Taki says, yesterday when I happened to hear the PM's version of expression in regard to emancipation, I was thinking of his demeanor in relation to that commissioner of police rather than leader of the people. What did he say? You know, I never listened. Ooh, I just betrayed my own. I was so fully emancipated.
Not fully emancipated. She was fully being enslaved because she was in here complaining how she had to work and cook and
Pastor,
cook.
what kind of counselor are you now? Here I am revealing my inner thoughts. Listen, man, you couldn't run a confessional.
You were saying to me,
you're not confidential. That is what it means now.
Okay, man. Really, no?
That's what it means. Then if you're going to tell the people who I live with what I was saying to you, how confidential is that? All right. No, I didn't listen to the PM, so I don't know what demeanor. Mm-hmm. What I did pick up on was that at the what happened? So we are burned.
And you see, some things you love. No, the truth is, some things you love to do because you get pleasure in doing it.
Like what? Being Prime Minister?
No.
Oh, you're trying to get back in my good graces because you were. He's trying to curry favor with me because I did curry yesterday.
You never give me no.
Yes, I not a bit did I give you. But it was delicious though.
No, but
I borrowed your coconut curry sauce. No, I know you're a very confidential person.
But just
and
to
I
say
know
that
you were just teasing me.
My friend is a great cook. She's a wonderful cook, and she takes great pleasure in
you're
doing it
completely forgiven. Keep talking.
No, but you see, but it's wonderful that you can do it because some people said that's below them, but because you love it. Hello, you know some woman who said, no, Sam, I'm not going to
no
kitchen.
Woman who said that. Me meet woman who can't cook.
No, man. They say
and tell you say they can't cook. They not cook for no man.
the wisdom would say, a wisdom, a man's heart is through his stomach.
Yeah, really? Is that right? Who came up with that one?
Well, ask the man then.
As the man him come up with it as they tried to get us to cook.
Yeah, but as we reflect on resistance.
Yeah. We're going to go more into it because resistance does take many forms, and resistance begins first and foremost with self-empowerment.
In the heart.
So if you don't think you're capable of resisting anything, you won't try. So you got to know the strength that you have. And we're here to walk you through that particular garden.
We
call it a garden.
Yeah, one of the things that I really do appreciate.
Yes.
As we do reflection on the year that we've been here, is there are so many people out there who are listening, who are being empowered, whose consciousness have been awoken to say, hold on, as you said this morning, you have to take responsibility. And most people have said it's the other person. And when you hear people speak, it's the other person.
Yeah, man.
But they've never put themselves in the
or
place.
The devil.
Or the devil made me do it. But I'm saying to people, true emancipation begins for us when we really take responsibility for ourselves and to say, there's something
for our neighbor.
Yeah, no, wait.
Oh, you mean some people say my neighbor did it?
Yeah.
I'm never gonna
continuously selfish.
No man starting with we take responsibility for ourselves, as you have said, for our neighbor.
I'm not taking responsibility for my neighbor. My neighbor needs to take responsibility for himself. But I will love and help him.
Yeah.
But that is
isn't that love?
Responsibility one speaks of.
It is. Yes, I know. I wanted to introduce the word love because I know that's what
it is. That's where it's going. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
That is a call,
Yeah. That is a call, and the more people accept that, the true change really begins. We're going back to where we started. Love God, love man, and we're good to go.
If you love God, you love His creation.
Yeah.
That's how it is. If you love your husband and him have some outside children, you will love those children. If you find that you can't love the children, you don't love the man. And you'll cook and you'll cook for him and go complain to the pastor beside you. Yes, it is true. I spent the day cooking from morning to evening. I took a break to have a meeting, and in the middle of the meeting, my teenage son says, "Mommy, when are you coming up? I'm ready to eat." And then I remembered, oh, shoot, I need to cook again.
Oh, boy.
I went and I cooked again. So I told Pastor, no, I'm tired. I spent the whole day enslaved. On that note, may I say thank you to all those who, put up with us on air and online. Thank you for your comments, for your support. What is Taki here saying in the last minute? He said, respect your seat. The history was clear, but the vibrations from him was such as I got. What was that? All right. We'll get it. Oh, he's commenting on the Prime Minister's demeanor. I have to go and check that out. Thank you to Earl. I thank you for some of the very interesting
Earl, good door, man.
stuff that you send me, on Messenger. I couldn't open the video on the arrest. I have to hunt it down. Something about my location, and I couldn't open it. But to those in studio, thank you also. Pastor, thank you very much. For at least making me laugh. But it's been a good morning, and I think we're on a topic that we're gonna just push a little harder with it, so that if we can, just break a few strongholds and you're borrowing the government's theme, reigniting a nation for greatness or something like that. Yeah, there's greatness to be released. Thank you all. And